Eli Hinton back to the bottom, 6 to go.
Makes a mistake again. He missed a shift. He's going to spin to the inside turn. He's going to take the lead.
Eli Hinton just got used up there in the hairpin. He's going to pick up a win after a long winless streak in Victory Lane. And the whole field just needs to get himself slowed down, hop these curves, up and over. There's Zach Cannon running a tad wide. Great restart here for the 2 car, but also for the 48. He crosses him over, down into turn 1, there goes the tail. Here comes the 20 alongside. The 13 car gets turned. He's going to spin in turn 2.
While we're only 11 races into the season, it's time to trim off the rest of the field and bring it down to the final 10 drivers for the Fuel Finals for the 2019 ACE season. Hi, I'm Kyle Hugger here with Finney Nakuna at Iowa Speedway here in Newton, Iowa, and it's round 11, but it's the final race of the regular season, Finian, and we have a couple drivers on the outside looking in that you wouldn't expect, including last year's champion.
Yeah, and again, a lot of guys, there are a lot of big names on the list of drivers who have not been yet locked in, guys looking in, so a big list, but they only have one chance of potentially getting.
Yeah, one of those drivers that is out right now is Greg Evans. He's 18 points behind the cut line, Finian. He needs to win to get in tonight. It's going to be a tough race for sure this evening, short track style, very similar to Richmond where we were on Saturday for the Outsiders guys, but again, there's a lot of drivers around that cut line we wouldn't expect to see, so it's going to change and be fluid throughout the night. But here's a look at the point standings. This is not your playoff standings. This is just the points as they are. Again, a win will get you in, but at the top of the board, it's going to be Tim Silliman up 2 spots last week after a great run at Motegi. Tim Johnston, Scott Eckers dropped 2. He's been absent the last couple weeks, but looks like he's gone. Oh, no, he's here tonight, so he's back. Thomas Bressi sitting in 4th. Gail Brooks in 5th. Yazik 6th. DeBarro 7th, George 8th, Greg Evans 9th, and Nick Cohan 10th. But remember, Evans is in 9th in the points, but not in the championship in terms of the cut line. So he's going to have to win to get into the race tonight.
Yeah, and the only guys that have actually locked themselves in are Scott Eckridge, Anthony DeBarro, Thomas George, Nick Cohan, Jeff Ward, and Don Runkle. Those guys are all safe. The guys who are not safe, however, the other 4 drivers, but are currently in on points are Tim Silman, Timothy Johnson, Thomas Bressi, and Gail Brooks. And yeah, and of the remaining drivers that can get themselves in on points, Brian Yazik's the only one who can get it on points. He's 2 points behind Gail Brooks to make a close race between them. Anyone else behind, though, has to get a win.
Yeah, we mentioned Scott Eckridge. He's been gone for a couple weeks, and still sitting high and mighty atop the point standings, or very near it. But he's back this week, which means that, he's in the fence out of 2, and he's actually going to have to abandon this lap. But that means that Greg Evans is going to have a much harder time winning this race. Greg Evans has had some great runs lately, but not good enough to get himself in victory lane. Another couple drivers, Nick Cohan's going to be strong tonight, and Jeff Ward, our last week's winner, sitting atop the pole sitting right now, and he's locked himself in, so he's good to go. So Greg Evans is going to have to be aggressive tonight. Remember, he won 9 of 17 races last season. Hasn't won any yet this year.
Yeah, I would say we saw last week too. He got very close to Motegi until a late race incident that took him out of it. And we saw it was Jeff Ward go to victory lane. They're getting his win and punching himself to the playoffs. So yeah, it was close for Evans last week, and here again, he's got to put all his cards in line.
Scott Eckridge trying to get this lap underneath him here. He's going to make it. And you'll see him drive down to the inside of the track. Multiple lines you can use here, Finian, but the outside of turns 3 and 4, that's going to get you if you get in the throttle too soon. You see those marks on the fence. Across the line, where does Eckridge line himself up? It should be a pretty good lap. 3rd place for the number 70. And he'll be starting right behind leader Jeff Ward. And it looks like Ward is going to hang on unless Paul Pepper has anything to say about it, but he's pulling into the pits. So Jeff Ward, from winning last week to pole this week, that 89 is hot right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's a hot commodity. Honestly, if he keeps this up, he's looking pretty good for the rest of these playoffs. I mean, he's caught fire these last few races, so hopefully he can continue the momentum.
We asked him last week if he was turning up the wick or what he needed to do to turn up the wick to make sure he's competitive in the championship. And, well, winning pole is a good way to do it. Now, the Fuel Finals will start next week, but, Finian, there's no better place to determine who gets in and who gets out with a short track race. And Iowa's a very popular racetrack, but it's also really rough and bumpy along the bottom. The outside lane, not preferred all the time. Multiple lanes to use here, but where do you want to be at the start of this race? I'm going to vouch for probably on the bottom, I would think.
Yeah, I think definitely you want to be on the bottom once these cars get up to speed. Then you can kind of play around and look for grip. So we're probably going to see a lot of guys stick to the bottom for the first few laps and then start to play around with it, especially once the track gets rubbered in.
I spy with my little eye, number 11, that's Mitch Brown. Remember, he's been absolutely fast the couple races that he's entered this year, and that number 11 Sim Marketing Solutions Camry starting up near the front, so he'll have a good run at it tonight. And Tim Silliman, our current points leader, sitting back here at a pretty decent starting spot as well. Tyler Hensley has yet to visit victory lane this season, but he's been close so many times. But how about, I saw Zach Buchanan just up in front of these guys as well, and Buchanan's also looking for a victory this season. And have a pretty decent starting spot to do it, but Jeff Ford, again, we talked about how good he was last week at Motegi, but this is a totally different style of racetrack, and with Rockingham coming up next week, I believe, you're going to, I mean, I don't think these two tracks could be more different, but there's also some similarities in terms of the size of the racetrack. Rockingham's a bit bigger, but I think Jeff Ward's going to be really good these next couple weeks, but he's also going to have to beat Greg Evans, who is going to be super hungry, and I can't think of a farther fall from grace than winning over half the races last season and not getting a single one this year. That Can't Design Camaro's going to have to be fast tonight.
As you said, also this is he started outside pole last week too. You believe he started in
Yes,
second.
that is correct.
So also he's going to be starting in second here again up in the front of the field. He and even a lot of names behind him too. Tyler Hensley, another name too, just hasn't been able to get the win and has had some speed. He's going to be starting, getting a decent starting position. We'll see what he can do in that 44.
Let's take a look at our starting lineup here tonight. A couple drivers didn't take the grid, one of them being Thomas George, the other being Johnny Martin. Here's a look at the starting lineup for tonight. On the front row, Jeff Ford, the number 89, alongside Greg Evans. We talked about him from champion last year to barely making it in. Even if he wins tonight, it's going to be close.
Yeah, we're going to potentially see that 46 make some interesting moves here.
And then there was also the 5, Arett McBride. He's sitting right behind the 46. We'll see if he has anything to say about the win tonight. And Thomas Bressy as well.
Yeah, and again, Bressy to another driver that we're also going to keep an eye on. Another driver really fast and waiting for him to get his win this season. Moving back behind them, Thomas Bressy, Travis pushing in 5th. Thomas Bressy is going to be starting in 6th out of them. Bressy in on point at the moment.
Starting back in 7th place, William Hahn in the number 8 car alongside Nick Cohan in the 21. Has won a race this season. He's locked himself in, but can he get another one here tonight? We'll let the rest of that scroll along the bottom of your screen, but pole sitter Jeff Ford, that number 89, has been hot these last couple weeks. Can he get hot again and win tonight at Iowa? They're in the middle of nowhere, but you want to pick up a checkered flag because it's as important tonight. But I think the only driver in this field that really needs a victory to sustain his dominant status is Greg Evans, and everyone else, it wouldn't be a huge shocker, but this is the biggest shock in the field here. So we'll see if he can do it. Pace car pulls off 180 laps on the board tonight. Who is going to win it in the final race of the regular season and get themselves into the Fuel Finals? Jeff Ward leads him down. Green flag flies. We're racing in Iowa.
Brooks out behind and already started to make a pass on the inside of Zach Buchanan. He's going to foul it out. How about Justin Rodden now in the 0-1 making a move?
That 3 wide, that 35's already got damage on the nose of that car, so issues early for Dylan Lee, but already everyone trying to get themselves sorted out. Greg Evans shoots to the front, though. He's going to lead lap number 1. That's a great way to start the night. Yeah. Can he hold on, though? Ward is charging hard.
Yeah, did a great job getting the lead from the outside lane. Here comes Jeff Ward trying to fight back, though, on the inside. We'll see how this works.
Ward drops the bottom caution out, and I think it's Hensley in the 44. Oh, big crash down in turn number 1, and Evan Adams is involved. Justin Rodden.
Yeah, Justin Rodden we just saw we're looking at, as well as the 62 of John Wilco.
Yeah, and I think I saw Hensley spinning first, and it doesn't seem like he has a ton of damage, but caution out here early at Iowa. Let's see what happened here. I think I see how this is going to start. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, wow, that 0-1 took a huge hit. Oh, Don Runkle got a piece of it as well, and Evan Adams had nowhere to go.
And Gazik also, I think, got a piece.
Here's on board from the 59 of Evan Adams. Not much you can do here.
Yeah.
Well, let's ride on board with the 0-1. I'm not quite sure what he was doing here, Finney. A little early to be running people that close to the fence.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure Hensley's going to be probably a little more than ticked off there.
I would say that's fair, but you guys just kind of go for the same spot. But there's no reason to hold somebody up that high, and he's going to go hard into the fence there.
I was going to say, no need to do that lap 2 of 180.
And you mentioned Brian Yazik. Oh, he did get a piece of it. Let's take a look.
Yeah, River. Here we see.
Oh, he got a piece of Hensley. And he also got hit on the left front. That Rich Jet, and Mike Hurley also had a piece of that. So a lot of cars involved in this one here, Finian, for a pretty needless opening lap issue.
Yeah, and also Yazzie, remember too, he's on the outside looking and he's 2 points behind Gale Bugs. That's only going to make his life a lot harder there. Now you see the contact, Rodden hard in the wall.
Oh, John Runkle was the one that got into Yazzik. So caution out here early, and that's going to make some strategies interesting here. Finding a lot of cars in the rear pitting. Gale Brooks had a piece of damage from that.
Yeah, he actually got his damage from the 35. He's the one who got into. So Brooks fixing out his damage in the rear of his car. Pretty much the only cars on pit road right now are cars fixing themselves damage.
Tyler Hensley's okay. I mean, he's got some left front and right rear damage, but it looks like he's got most of it punched out. The cars to be worried about, Don Runkle took a pretty big hit. Mike Hurley also got a pretty decent piece of it, and so did Evan Adams. I would assume that these cars are probably done for the night, or at least will go several laps down. And here comes the leaders out of turn number 4.
Very unfortunate. I think the only 2 Fords, actually, other than Lee in the 35, but one of the few Fords in the field, they're going to be sitting in the pits.
Okay, so caution out here early, Finney. So this is the last race for Evans to get himself in. That's Greg Evans. He's leading this race right now. Track position game. Is that the game you want to play tonight? You want to maybe play a strategy later this evening to stay ahead of everyone?
I mean, honestly, I think really any strategy that kind of sets yourself up for the end is good. Just, you know, there's different ways about going about it. You can be in the front all night long, or you could try to set yourself up for the long game. You kind of got to flip a coin and pick which one you want. But the thing I definitely think we're going to see is we're going to see, especially towards the end, if we get cautions in the right place, we're going to see a lot of guys rolling the dice, especially guys like Evans, McBride, Hensley, maybe guys like Paul Pepper that are fast, that haven't been able to get a win this season. So, because all they need is that one win to punch them in, and other than that, they got nothing really else to fight for other than points for the rest of the season.
Yeah, if I'm Greg Evans, my only goal is to win this race tonight. I don't care if I'm going to aggravate half the field doing it, but you're going to have to, if you're not leading this race at the time of the final caution, you're going to have to play, you're throwing everything. I mean, he's 18 points out. The only way this 46 car gets in is by winning this race, and I guarantee you he's going to do everything in his power to win this tonight. Whether it's taking no tires on a final pit stop, he's going to try something. Stay tuned.
And also, the thing you might have to account for in this strategy, he's got to be careful from other guys doing that too, because remember, anyone else in the field that dares to try, as long as they met the minimum participation requirement, which I think almost everyone here, they can also throw a curveball and try to get themselves in position. So he has to consider other people throwing in a lot of curveballs here. It's a very weird round because a lot of people are going to be just kind of throwing caution to the wind and being a lot more aggressive on this strategy.
Well, caution to the wind is what we had here early on lap number 2 as Hensley and Justin Rodden got caught up in it and got a couple of the drivers involved. Single file restarts here, lap number 7. Let's try this again. Coming back to the green flag, Evans in that 46. I guarantee he's going to launch as soon as he can. No, he's going to wait it out and be able to play a little strategy game here. Green flag back in the air, and Evans takes off. And a stack up there in the outside lane.
Big stack up. Bresci looking to the outside of Eckridge. Couldn't get anything done. He's going to be stuck up behind her. And Cohen to the inside as well. Paul Pepper to the inside of Gil Brooks.
Yeah, Cohen took advantage of that drop to the inside of Bresci, looking for that spot as they come out of turn number 2, but couldn't really get anything done. Paul Pepper slots back in line. See Mitch Brown hanging out back there. There's Zach Buchanan and Tim Silliman. They're fighting for 11th right now, but just up the road, I see Scott Eckridge in that 70. He's going to be quick tonight. Didn't qualify quite as high as we're used to seeing him, but it was a late effort there, so we'll see if he can claw his way through the field.
I'm mistaken that it's Travis McQuestion in that yellow car. I thought it was Gale Brooks.
Oh, was it McQuestion?
Yeah, it was McQuestion. He's in yellow. It's so we're not seeing him.
Where is Brooks? Oh, Brooks is back at 18. I made that same mistake. There's Calvin Kolarski in a nice looking mechanics wear car. New scheme on board that thing tonight.
Yeah, he's going to have to turn a few positions, stuck back in the field. We see Cohen and McQuestion fighting for positions. We'll pop that Paul Pepper on the outside.
Look at the suspension working on these cars. Bumpy on the inside lane there, Finning, but the outside won't really come in till later. There's Timothy Johnson going around the outside of Dulger, and Johnson did not have a great qualifying effort at all. He's very high in the point standings, but as of late, we haven't seen a ton of him. He's just been kind of hanging out, so we'll see if he can do any better tonight. Calvin Kolarski, we mentioned him. He's right in front of Gil Brooks, and Brooks is one of those people fighting on that cut line. If Evans wins, it's going to get difficult for him this evening. There's Greg Evans and Jeff Ward. I think Ward's quicker right now, Finning, at least on the longer runs.
Yeah, and we'll have to keep an eye on these guys as the run continues. I expect some decent runs here, especially with these single file cautions. You see mostly single file action, just a few passes going on here and there.
And Silliman still in 11th, trying to hang on. Zach Buchanan behind the number 40 Summersby car. So 180 laps here, Finney, and it's about an hour and 2 minutes of racing. if we go green from here, which is unlikely, but it's not a short race by any stretch of the imagination, so there's a lot of strategy you can play in terms of fuel mileage. If we do go green, Finian, you're going to want to take tires and fuel every time, I assume. It looks like we're already about half a second off our best times. Oh, it gets turned! The 35 spins out of turn 2. Caution out again, and Filarski gets caught up in it, and as does the 28. Wilco spins behind him. Crash.
Yeah, I was looking at Johnson and Lee trying to shoot through a hole on the outside of the 35, and that hole closed up there as they came off it too. We'll take a look at what happened there between them.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we saw it happen, but I think the 35, did he just come up a bit too high? Yeah, it wasn't clear. I think he thought he was clear and pulled right over in front of the 28. That got Johnson, and Filarski just had nowhere to go, jumped on the brakes, and that car is destroyed.
Yeah, and I think guys need to give each other a little bit more room here in these opening laps.
Yeah, I mean, later in the race, I could see yourself trying to force that to stick. But, oh, you mentioned the 88. That was what you were looking at. And Filarski just couldn't get on the brakes. That's a big hit there to the driver's side door of the 35. But again, it's playing with inches here, and wasn't quite clear. Right on board Timothy Johnson's car. If you're Johnson, this is not what you need. I mean, you're having a pretty good points night, or points season, rather, and you just don't need to get yourself caught up in needless wrecks like that. And also saw Wilco get turned around. Let's see if he got him some help, or if he just locked it up, spinning, miss it. Oh, he just locked it up. And Hensley avoided it and got through. Caution out here for the second time tonight, so it looks like everyone from 8th on back came in for service, but our top 7 have stayed out, Finian, and must feel pretty confident that the tires are going to last longer than a couple laps like they did at Motegi.
Yeah, I am a little bit shocked with that, because again, with these single file restarts, they've really made it possible to get some a lot of good green flag running in, especially at certain tracks. And we see here that pretty much we're able to go green for quite a while. These last 2 cautions are a little bit necessary, and it's not like these guys are self-spinning out, so it's really only from car-to-car contact. So I think we should see a pretty good, pretty decent green flag run at some point tonight. Yeah.
Also, the conditions, beautiful evening for racing here in Newton, Iowa. About 77 in the air, 79 on the track. So conditions are not really going to play into the slipperiness of the surface tonight. It's going to be pretty grippy out there. I think the exception might be coming out of the corners, fighting understeer, oversteer, depending on where you are in the run. But good weather, so it's just all up to these drivers to make it home. And we already have a couple retirements. Evan Adams and Justin Rodden retired from the race. Dylan Lee still out on the racetrack, or he is in the pits right now, but still in the race car. Johnny Martin and Thomas George didn't start this race, and I guess as to why, but either way.
I guess probably George didn't either feel like it or probably had something else to do, but he's locked in, so he doesn't have to worry about. And speaking of being somewhat locked in, although he's not officially locked in, Timothy Johnson, even with the damage to his car, he is 58 points ahead of Gale Brooks, who's the last place guy currently in at the moment. So I think he might just retire the car here and just kind of look forward into next week. Although actually,
got the nose put back on.
Yeah, they just slapped the nose back on the car, and he's in it. So I think he might still continue again just to make sure. And just to kind of make up points here and there. You never want to be too entirely sure, just in case something happens.
Yeah. How about Calvin Filarski? He's also got a bunch of damage on that car. But the points gaps are not that close for the cut line fitting. I think the closest was about 18 points. But Greg Evans is the one that is on the outside looking in at that 18-point margin. And I don't see your way that you're going to point yourself in unless you just got to win the thing. I don't really see it happening. So Greg Evans right now, I believe he was the one that was just below the cut line. I have it on my graphic here. It's one of the points. So Gale Brooks is the one that is currently in that spot, and Greg Evans and Drew Carroll are below it. Yeah, and here's the thing. Again, Brooks and Yadzik are the only guys racing for the last spot on points. If someone else were to win, neither Yadzik or Brooks will get, and they'll both be kicked out as they're both replaced by winners these last 2 weeks, which is definitely the thing that they don't want to see. So there's a lot of different things going through these drivers' minds. You got to consider a lot of situations you probably didn't account for. So it's a lot of things going through these drivers' head, especially if you're a guy fighting your way in. I can't state enough how crazy it is to me that a car that no one could touch last year is now struggling to get into the field finals. And again, the only way this 46 is getting in is winning. I mean, there's really no way that anyone's going to point in or point out by having a bad night here.
You could blame the Camaro, like in the real life.
He was a Camaro last year, too.
I was going to say another Camaro also has got 5 wins this season, too.
I'm not buying that, Finian. All right, well, it's an iRacing conspiracy. Pace car is going to pull off again. Let's try this again after 2 cautions here in the first 15 laps. We'll try again. About 163 laps to go. Greg Evans in the 46 comes back to the green flag. And we're racing again here in Newton. Good launch that time by the 46, and much cleaner start to the rest of the field. It looks like Filarski got his nose put back on as well, so both those cars in pretty decent shape now.
This is the field getting pretty spread out. Oh, Gale Brooks in the wall there.
That was a pretty hard hit there for Brooks, and he's way off the racetrack and will probably come in. No, they'll stay out on the racetrack, but that's not what he needed.
Yeah, that was a really hard lick, too. That wasn't really much of a kiss.
No, he smoked it out of turn 2. This just unwound the wheel too early, just pounded that safer barrier.
Wow, and Ward
just missed it. Wow. So Brooks is going to be struggling with that car. Meanwhile, out up front, Nick Cohan is putting pressure on Rhett McBride for 2nd place.
Yeah, this is not what Rhett McBride wants, because again, him and Evans are racing for the win here. They don't want Nick Cohan to get on through. Because Nick Cohan really doesn't need any more wins this season. He's already locked in.
Oh, crash in turn 2 and 55. And Rich Jett all caught up in it. Hurley gets a piece of it as well again. And for the 3rd time tonight in 20 laps, we go yellow. Here to see how this one started. Started a long way back. Here's Rich Jett right in the bumper of, that's Mitch Brown. Paul Pepper. The 77 sails it in just too hot. Gets loose, slips and slides, and Yazik nowhere to go. Clobbers the 77. 62 gets a piece of it. Oh, Johnson just makes it through. Oh, Filarski gets a piece, and he gets drilled from behind by the 32 of Hurley. So caution out for the 3rd time tonight. Finian, how are these guys going to get a race in? They got to calm down a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah, I was going to say, I was surprised that Jet lost there. Again, just tough break for Yazik. Got hit. He's been hit twice now, none of his own doing. He's been having a pretty poor night in 20th. I'm sure he just kind of wants to stop getting hit by a lot of drivers.
All right, so 3rd caution in the beginning. And as we look through, I'm trying to see if there's anybody we could grab and talk to real quick. And talk to Bressie, we've talked to Zach, we've talked to Tim, so I'm going to probably leave these guys alone for now. But, Scott Eckrich in the 70. He's a guy that wants these green flag runs. The cautions continue to come out. How is he getting himself up there? I mean, we've seen this in the past. I'm trying to remember what race it was where he just got stuck in the back. Was it New Hampshire? Or was he not there for New Hampshire? Where he just got stuck clawing his way through the field for half the race because he got stuck in, maybe it was Chicago? Maybe it was Chicago. But he needs the green flag runs to get the speed out of that race car. You're not going to do a whole lot of that while pacing. So a big portion of the field comes down to pit road again. Brooks, Filarski, Hurley. Once more. Brian Yazik, we talked about his damage that he's got. It rolls off at turn number 4. Okay, while we're here, we might as well tell you what's coming up on SimTV this week. And if you're new to the channel, also remember that we broadcast the Spec MX-5 Sim Racing Challenge, who is at Circuit of the Americas tomorrow, and that will be broadcast live at 8:20 p.m. on Winding Road Magazine's YouTube channel with their 470,000 subscribers. So go ahead and give them a subscribe, and that link is up and available to see. So go ahead and head over there tomorrow night, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that Thursday Scars Ferrari Challenge from Motegi. We were there last week in Fuel. We're there this week in Scars. Then Friday in turns to Texas. So that's what's coming up the next couple days on SimTV. And a lot of stock car action. And then The Rock next week for the Fuel HostVenom Cup Series. That's going to be a fun one. I've been looking forward to broadcasting a race at The Rock for a long time. And we have not done it yet. And we have a bunch of those races there coming up this next couple months. Then also we have Las Vegas for the 3-wide Race Kings Cup Series on Monday. That's what's coming up the next week or so. It's been pretty quiet. We haven't had streams in 2 days. It feels like it's been a week.
Yeah, it really has felt like it's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long time again because we're going to be streaming non-stop until next Tuesday. I have a stream every single night, so we're going to be pretty busy on that front. And also wanted to say, I didn't read this until just now, so apparently Yazik, he's going to be missing some playoff races. So if he does get locked into the playoffs, he's going to give up his spot to the next driver. That would be Gale Brooks. So Gale Brooks effectively is going to be in based on points.
Oh, he's
however,
glad.
however, he's going to be praying to the racing gods that there's no other first-time winner this season, because that would kick him out and give it to that, put that winner in. And yeah, let's see. We have Greg Evans and Rhett McBride up in the front, where two guys without a win looking in.
Gas prices sure are stable around here, aren't they? Doesn't matter what the economy is. It's always 406 for diesel and 367 for.
I was gonna say, yeah, again, this is really. I just love this because it's like a look in the past, considering how cheap gas is nowadays.
Just give it a couple years. Give it a couple years to be. It's gonna come back around again.
I was gonna say this was post-recession. That was a rough time for gas prices.
McDonald's still doing well though.
When is McDonald's not doing well?
Okay, lights are off in the pace car. We'll stop babbling about McDonald's here for a second. Go back green here in a moment. Lap number 26. So hopefully a green flag run underway here. We have a couple more retirements to speak of. Rich Jett, Evan Adams, and Justin Rodden retired. Johnny Martin, Thomas George, DNS for tonight.
Yeah, we got 20 cars on the lead lap, 22 in total. Hurley and Dylan lead the only guys a lap down. Hurley 1 lap down, and Dylan lead 2 laps down. So, relatively small field count here tonight compared to what we're used to seeing. And hopefully that'll mean less cautions going forward here once these guys settle down.
Well, if we continue to have yells, we'll do what we did at New Hampshire. Just have like a little chat sesh. That's always fun. Pace car rolls off. Lap number 26. Greg Evans going to lead him back down to the green flag for the 3rd time tonight. And he fires off and brings Rhett McBride with him. Nick Cohan in 30s. Quietly snuck his way up here into the top 3, and I expect he'll have something to say about this race by the time it's over. And Scott Eckridge restarts 9th, right on the tail of Jeff Ward down into turn number 1. Ward won the pole, but through a pit stop strategy has found himself back in 8th.
Yeah, I was going to say Ward and Eckridge both back in position after making a pit stop earlier.
Action around Tim Silliman and Woody Mahan. This is for 4th, and there's Zach Buchanan. And Zach Buchanan and Tim Silliman are always around each other. It seems like every single week they're riding nose to tail. I sure hope they like each other, because otherwise this will be a miserable night.
Yeah, you see Ward getting around Dulger on the Highland. Not sure he's going to be able to really fight this too much.
Whoa! Pulls right up in front of the 88. Looks like Scott Eckridge is going to take advantage. Dive to the bottom underneath. The 88 down into turn number 3 and drives right up to the rear bumper of Jeff Ward, but can't quite get there. Get another spot.
They see up ahead of them, Tim Silliman making a move on the inside of Mahan as they head up in 1. Fight for 4th place.
Out of turn number 2, you see Silliman a bit tight to the center of the corner. And Jeff Ward is flying right now to the inside of Buchanan. He's going to dive to the bottom. Remember, Ward has tires and these other drivers don't, so he's going to go 3 wide for a moment out of turn 4. He'll take that spot away from Buchanan and set his sights on Tim Silliman.
Yeah, so even a small difference in tires seems to be worth quite a bit, about 10 laps or so. So it's interesting to keep in mind there. You see Ward really trying to force it on Silliman there. Almost making contact off 2. He's going to dive to the inside in 3. Someone's going to try to pinch him down.
Oh, man, this is getting rough here. They already made contact at the exit of turn 2. Scott Eckridge is coming. There's a crinkle on the right front fender of the 89 and on the left front fender of the 6. So they're in a spatial disagreement, I guess I'll call it. I should coin that term. Out of turn number 2, now side by side between these two. This is for 5th.
I was going to say, there really is actually no reason for them to be fighting this hard, other than just their position.
Totally separate strategies.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're both pretty much in points leaders 6
Whoa!
and 89 locked in on wins, but they are racing each other like it's their last day.
That was tight out of turn number 4. Eckridge is coming behind, though, as well. Zach Buchanan drops to 8th. There's some action going on back here. Paul Pepper just dropped like a rock tonight early in the going. Not sure what's up with that 3. Usually he's got a lot more pace than this, so struggling here early in the evening. Let's jump back up to Eckridge, though. He's caught Tim Silliman as Jeff Ward takes off and sets his sight on Woody Mahan in 4th. Greg Evans is pulled out to a half a second lead over Rhett McBride, and this looks like last year, Finian.
Yeah,
the 46-5 and the 21.
Yeah, those guys up in the front, and some of the newer names that are really showing through this season, they're further on back, scattered throughout the field. You see Ward with a big move to the inside of Mahan, now trying to make the pass. And really, he's starting to really see those tires come in for the 89. He's going to clear the 8 and move himself up in 4th.
Yeah, that 89 is on a mission right now, and Scott Eckridge has not been able to match his pace on this progress forward, so I think Jeff Ward is probably the best car on the racetrack right now, but don't look too far behind because that blue number 70 is rocketing through the field. He's had a couple weeks of absence, too, so a bit out of practice maybe, but give him a couple laps, I think he'll get it figured out. There's Nick Cohan putting pressure on Rhett McBride for 2nd now, and Not for long. Here comes the 89.
He's not really had many problems other than really getting on the 6. He's just been cutting through guys like it's nothing. He's just gonna ike ahead of the 21 here. Will he be able to make a pass in 1?
I think it'll be easy down here. Although the 21's gonna roll an outside lane and just try to keep a corner alongside, but not gonna be able to do it long enough. I think he'll have him cleared by the time they get down to turn number 3. And Ekrich has caught up. So Ekrich has piled his way through the mess. Zillman goes up high as Travis McQuistion comes through, and we're starting to see the tires matter now here a little bit. Kind of a mixed bag up here. If we take a look at laps in pit, you can see the difference in strategy. Everyone's kind of mixed up right now, but give it 15, 20 laps and it'll all be sorted out nicely. Who took tires? Look at this battle for second here, Finian. 4 cars, nose to tail.
Yeah, I was saying 2 on 1 strategy, 2 on the other. The guys in the outside lane have 9 at the pit. So I think you're going to potentially see guys look at this and probably come in to make some pit stops a lot more. Especially now they're on a decent reflex run right now.
Well, Greg Evans running the quickest laps of anybody out front right now, which is interesting because he is on older tires, but I'm curious to see if the 89 will pick up the pace once he clears the 5. And Laborde will rocket to second place right now. Tim Silliman under attack from McQuistion. These guys have been battling for a couple laps. And there's Thomas Presley in the 24. Told us earlier tonight that he's not great at Iowa. It's not one of his best racetracks, but certainly putting on a valiant effort here, climbing through the field. Tires helping the 24 here early, but look at this gaggle for 3rd place now.
Sort themselves out for the moment. Scott Acker is currently in 4th, trying to find a way around McBride. Gonna look to the outside this time.
Riding on board Nick Cohan as they head down the front straightaway. Speeds about 165 on the front straight. Now you can see the line starting to kind of separate out. The 5 car trying the outside, the 70 on the bottom. Rough on the bottom, but you're gonna wear your tires out as well down there. So you have to kind of pick and choose. The 21 running up higher, trying to find some semblance of grip, but continues to drop backwards. Those tires are just too old.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of exploring right now, although that's kind of allowed the 8 and the 93 to catch up to him.
Ekrich and McBride side by side for this spot. McBride's holding on quite well, actually. Well, I will mention that Jeff Ward has taken about 3/10 of a second out of Greg Evans' lead this last couple laps, and so the 5 re-clears 70 of Scott Ekrich, and now the battle for 5th is on Nick Cohan, Woody Mahan, and Travis McQuistion. McQuistion driving forward, and has had kind of an up and down season, looking for a victory, and maybe you can do it here tonight if you could just get some more track position.
Yeah, he's gonna try. He's gonna push his way through here on the outside of Mahan. Might be able to do it there. He's really able to nicely roll the corner.
Oh, close quarters there. The 8 trying to pull up and grab that spot, couldn't do it though. You see up the road, that's Scott Ekrich finally taking that spot away from Rhett McBride, and he clears him this time. McBride crosses him over, though, as they exit turn number 2. Maybe he'll try to go back at him.
Yeah, he's going to try to send it here in 3 on the inside. And I'm curious if he has enough fight left in those tires to be able to do it with it, and I think Ekrich is just going to roll the corner. They see McQuistion there. They're going to shoot the gap through the 8 into the inside of the 21.
Excellent move there by McQuistion to just go right through the middle on corner X, and he'll get that spot. Oh, look at this action. In the midfield now as Wigman and Thomas Bressi begin to battle for 7th.
Ooh.
Whoa!
Bressi was looking at a closing hole there, backed out of it. We could have saw it on a wreck, and he's going to the inside of Mahan.
Christian and Cohan continue to go at it, but Cohan's just fighting the futile battle there for now. And Greg Evans his lead has dwindled down to 4/10 of a second, so Jeff Ward is coming. The question is, how long is it going to take for that 89 to get there? We'll see if he can repeat what he did last week at Motegi. Trying to get sorted out. Tyler Dalger in the middle of all. Look at this hornet's nest back here. Zach Buchanan has dropped quite a ways on this run.
Not sure what happened to him. He was riding up there with Stillman in around 7th, 6th place, so I'm not sure what put him back here. I don't see any damage to that car.
Maybe a tick on the right front, but nothing major. Tyler Dalger has also been really struggling tonight. Calvin Pilarski trying to rebound with all that damage that he has. Not doing such a bad job, is he? That'll mangle that thing. It's looking as a modified out here right now. Oh boy, there's racing all over the racetrack right now. This is why everyone loves Iowa, because there's all sorts of different lines you can run around here, all sorts of different strategies you can play. But look at this. For 6th place, Cohan and Bressi as they fight out of the exit of turn 2. Look at the outside lane, nose to tail as they crest the hill.
Yeah, guys playing with inches right now. Again, fighting really good battle here between Bressi, Cohen, Mahan, and Silman. All fighting for 6th place.
looks like it's just difficult, even with the guy on the inside's got tires. I'm surprised that Cohen's been able to hang on this well in the outside lane.
Yeah, I think we're approaching the point where the tires is starting to even out just a little bit. But you see in the 4 that Bresley's able to blow on by the 21.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the tires equalizing. That's no more evident than the top 2 guys. That gap is stabilized. So actually, as I say that, Ward takes another 10th out of it, but it's relatively close in terms of lap times. As you see, well, there's some lap traffic they're dealing with. That's Mike Curley getting this.
Yeah, that forced some way out. Here comes now Ward with a big run.
The Jeff Ward from winning last week to pole this week plays some strategy. He's down to the inside contact with the 32,
no.
and he's going to slide and almost spin. Does he hang on to it? He's in the fence in turn 2.
And tough break for Ward there with the lap car Mike Hurley.
McBride's going to take away 3rd place. Scott Eckridge slipped through there out of my sight, and he got away 2nd place. But Jeff Ward, he's going to continue losing spots. That car hurting a bit, but what happened down there in turn number 1?
Yeah, we saw that Hurley got close with Greg Evans, and that kind of held him up. And then now here comes Ward.
Just did not turn. The car did not rotate when he got down to the corner, and almost completely wiped out the leader. And Jeff Ward's going to have to battle to get back from that. That car is hurting a bit. He's going to need some tires, and for sliding around didn't help that pace at all. So Greg Evans will hang on to the lead. Scott Eckridge now up in 2nd place.
So we see Greg Evans, Eckridge, Ward, McQuistion, Ward, and Bressie coming up through there.
Han and Cohan fighting for 7th now. Oh, the 21 scrapes the fence, just licks it with the right side. No damage there. There's another Tyler Hensley rebounding from an early spin. That car is pretty well repaired, actually, minus that left run. If you just look at it from the right side, it's all pretty.
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably would have liked the car to be in as ideal condition as possible because, again, one of those drivers that needs a win to get himself in, and he's currently in 11, so he's still got him both the spots there. You see Mitchell Brown in the 11 car ahead of him.
It's such a shame that Mitchell Brown is only a part-time driver because every time he's gotten into a race, he's gotten wrecked out a couple times, but he's so fast. He's got a lot of pace in that race car, and I wish he ran full-time here, but right on the bumper of Tim Stillman as they exit turn number 2. Gotta be careful here, Penny, with only a couple feet between the driver's bumpers here. One little slip-up, you're going to take out 3 or 4 cars. Like we're racing Talladega here in Iowa.
Yeah, you really got to gauge the runs that you get. You can get some significantly good runs off the corners compared to the guys ahead of you. So you really got to time it. You got to also make sure you keep the bumpers clean.
Hensley now working on Silliman for 9th. Silliman, your points leader as they come into the regular season finale. He's just been very consistent. Hasn't put the world on fire, but has been running well even every week.
Yeah, same thing for Timothy Johnson, who's coming into the round with 1 point behind Sullivan. Both those guys are very consistent so far this season. You can even throw Thomas Bressie in the mix as well. All those guys locked themselves in based on points.
Yeah, that's the only race I can think that Tim Silliman did not really enjoy was Pocono.
Yeah, he really struggled there. But
that was bad.
But other than that, I mean, he's done a great job being consistent so far this season. That's given him the points lead.
I got on board with Mitchell Brown as they navigate this mess of race cars. A lot of off-throttle time around here, even with the downforce they have. Half a second between the leaders will take you there if it gets closer. But for now, we're out on board with Mitchell Brown as he watches the rest of the field in front of him navigate this. As maybe take a look to the inside. No, it seems like he's pretty content behind the 6 for now, just biding his time.
And I think he's waiting for these guys to go a little bit more diffused so he can kind of just easily go on by them rather than trying to pass 3 cars at once.
Here's an opportunity.
Yeah. You see the opportunity present itself. He's going to get a nice run to the inside of Silliman, although he's got Tyler Hensley up ahead of him.
I think one of the things you're going to start to see, though, is the inside lane, what we saw at Motegi, where you just can't make a pass down there. I think you're going to really struggle when you get down below it, or just trying to get that thing to rotate underneath. But Mitchell Brown's actually making it work.
Oh, boy.
Cohen's tight. That's going to bring up 4 cars altogether, and there's the 3 of Paul Pepper fighting back after slipping back earlier in the run.
As you say, Johnson had an amazing run looking to the outside of Cohen, but had to back off, could not get into him. That'll allow Paul Pepper to try to muscle his way on through. Here's a big water car. Cohen cannot find himself in small groups. He's been in the middle of 4-car battles here for the last 10-15 laps.
Yeah, his strategy is not working out for 21. He's really struggling. 3 wide on the exit of turn number 2, all fighting for 10th place.
How about Paul Pepper coming out of nowhere? He's going to gain 3
where did he
spots.
come from?
He's been having a relatively quiet night.
I've got fresh tires, fresh instead of anybody in the field. That's helping. The exit turn number 2, Cohen beginning to really struggle now on these tires, and Cohen's locked in with that win he had earlier in the season. Oh, he's slipping and sliding, out of control for a moment, but he gathers it back up. But Cohen doesn't need to win tonight, doesn't need to have a great performance tonight, but it certainly would help the confidence level, especially seeing typical front runners up here, Greg Evans, Eckrich, McBride, and Jeff Ward trying to fight back. And speaking of Ward, he's looking to the inside of McQuistion, trying to recoup one of those spots that he lost after getting hit by the 32 of Hurley.
Yeah, tough break for Ward, because honestly it would have been a very easy pick for the win here tonight. They see Bresci behind and get it to the wall.
Right on board, Bresci.
And they see classic Iowa coming out of 4. It's just really hard to gauge that corner.
That was a pretty hard hit for the 24 too.
Again, Bresci doesn't have much to worry about tonight, although I'm sure he would probably like a win. More so than 9. This is Ward and McQuistion almost make contact there.
Oh, the 89 jukes over to the 24. Driving crazy tonight, that 89. He wants another victory.
I'm sure, again, I'm sure he's probably pissed off right now because that getting into Hurley was kind of unnecessary because Hurley was 17 laps down, so I'm sure he's probably a little bit hot under the helmet there. Just pretty much had a win taken away from him there. You see him move to the outside.
Slips up, slides into the fence out of turn number 4. And here comes Bresci now trying to take advantage of it. A couple drivers retired here, finding Mike Hurley in the 32. That's not super surprising with the damage he had, but Zach Buchanan out of the race here in 21st, so maybe just pulled off and had a night.
Yeah, I guess probably struggling. That might have been why we saw him lost quite a few positions. I think probably just had enough of the car and decided to park right here. So we only got 20 cars left running, 19 of which are on the lead lap.
Jeff Ward, again, trying to recoup his spots, but he's driving like a man possessed right now. Trying to get back by Travis McQuistion. You can see third place Rhett McBride right in front of him, but also take a look at our leader. Greg Evans is out up front here, Finning. He's running, last time through he was quicker than Scott Eckrich, although they keep trading blows. That 46 is on the original set of tires that came at the start of this race. He's running a great run out front, and this is the night that he needs it the most.
And also just look at the top 2 in general, just look at their gap from the rest of the field. They're in a league of their own. It's about a 4-second gap between Eckrich and McBride, so they've kind of gapped themselves to the rest of the field. It pretty much comes down between these two. I'm sure Evans definitely, he's going to be looking at Eckrich thinking, you know, you already have 5 wins. I really don't think you need another. I need this win more than you. So I'm sure if Eckrich catches up to Evans, we're going to see Evans fight for his life where you see Johnson in the wall. Yeah,
we're seeing a lot of that typical, as you mentioned earlier, that Iowa turn 4 smash. His driver just miscalculate the exit of the corners, and we saw that several times tonight. Gale Brooks and Tyler Dulger and some others really smashing that fence out of turns 2 and 4. Tim Silliman and Timothy Johnson fighting for 11th. Johnson is having a good run considering that front end is all torn off that car after an early incident. In the background, I see Nick Cohan. He's fallen all the way to 13th. Finian, he is half a lap behind the leaders. What is going on in this 21 tonight? He had pace early, just is not taking care of his tires and just continues to drop through the field. He's half a second slower than Greg Evans every single lap.
Yeah, I'm sure he's trying to figure out something in this car.
It's not going to get better, I tell you that.
So I'm thinking he might have to come in for an early pit stop. He's going to get himself off sequence and again, just try something because you're not in a place where you necessarily need to win, although it would be nice. Give you a few more bonus points.
Greg Evans continues to lead. He's actually stretched that gap the last couple laps. It's now 0.6 of a second between him and Scott Eckrich. That is Rhett McBride, Travis McQuistion, Jeff Ward. As we drop from the field, there's Tyler Hensley back up to 8th after that lap 2 incident he had. Then Paul Pepper in the number 3 chasing him down. Don Ronkel Jr. is also involved in one of those early collisions and had quite a bit of damage, but he's still toughing it out back here in that Viagra 00. And there's Calvin Pilarski in the 39 car as well. That car has seen better days. It'll probably, they probably won't even bother taking it back to the shop. They'll just take a torch to it right here on the racetrack and sell it for scrap. Caution! And it's, well, Cohen's in pit road, and it's Gale Brooks and Brian Yazik on the front straightaway, Finian.
Again, just that night gone worse for the 55.
What happened here is the 55 and the 71 both just ran into each other. I don't think there's anything else you can say about that. Was for a loop.
Tough day for the 55. This has been third time he's been hit by someone.
Yeah, I mean he was already in the fence. This would have hurt either way, but then the 71 just kind of finished him off here. Around they go. So caution out here, Finn, and I know what everyone's going to do now. There's no question about the strategy at this point. Everyone's going to come on down pit road and get tires and
we were just talking about going, actually, did he come in?
He did come to pit road before the caution. He is 1 lap down. They should be able to get a wave around here.
Oh yeah, he should be next car with a wave around, so good for it. So he'll be able to recover from that. Although he's probably thinking he wished that caution came out earlier.
Yeah, so Evan or Cohan's going to have some work to do here in a moment, but Greg Evans comes down to pit road now. Let's watch this race here. This 46 has got to maintain his track position again. Scott Eckridge is going to be hard to beat, but if you can keep him behind you, you're halfway there. Coming to their pit stalls, and there's Jeff Ward as well. No strategy here. I mean, I think we'll see everyone take 4 tires and fuel.
Yeah, again, long ways to go. We're 73 laps in of 180, so still got over 100 laps to the finish. So I'm sure you probably just want to play it safe with strategy. There you see Greg Evans is going to win off pit road over Eckridge. And
almost no changes here other than Jeff Ward dropping a bunch of spots.
And I'm sure he's just fixing that damage he got from getting into Mike Curley in the 32. Again, just kind of fixing that car up for the later run.
So Greg Evans maintains his lead on and off pit road. A good effort there by the number 46. Scott Eckridge hanging out in second. Rhett McBride third. McQuistion and Thomas Bresci, again, he told us before the race that he wasn't super confident in his ability here at Iowa, but so far running inside the top 5, having a good night. Then Woody Mahan in 6th. Tyler Hensley recovering. And Mitch Brown again, part-timer running in 9th. Tim Silliman, the current points leader, running in 10th. Timothy Johnson also making a rebound down in 11th place. Nick Cohan waiting for that wave around. It's going to hurt him track position-wise here, but it could be a lot worse. It could have stayed green and had a pit road penalty or something, so he'll be in okay. Taking a look at the manufacturers here, all the Fords have gone for the night, but it's a Chevy, Toyota, Chevy, Toyota, Chevy, your top 10. So mostly Chevy-dominated group up at the front here. Although I know Nick Cohan would like to change that. He's got some work to do to get the round fitting. He's going to have to take that wave around. He'll be at the back of the field for the restart. He's going to have to get all that track position back the hard way, which I'm sure he didn't want to do, but that caution just came out a bit too late to help him out.
Yeah, and again, I'm sure he's probably cursing his luck that if it came out, he wouldn't have had a lose position. Although he was kind of far back there in the first place. He was around 13, so he'll only lose a few spots, but again, I think it's kind of a dent in his night, and we'll see how he's going to be able to recover. 4 cautions so far tonight for a total of 18 laps. No lead changes. Greg Evans has led every single lap so far tonight. Field rolls out in turn number 2. We're going to have a lap and a half left of pacing. As we head to next week at Rockingham, Finian, we have to also discuss the format for the Fuel Finals this year. Just like last year, every single week we're eliminating 1 driver. So we'll have 10 drivers in race number 12, and then 9, and then 8, and then 7, and 6, and 5, and then the final 4 will go at it for the final round of the season. So this means that you get no mulligans. If you make a mistake, you're out. You cannot afford a single accident. We've seen accidents and mistakes take out pretty much everyone in the field at some point or another this season. I would say with the exception of maybe Tim Silliman. But it's going to be cutthroat when it comes down to the points this year. And I was going to say, too, for the finals, Eckridge is going to be happy. If he, at the moment right now, he's going to have at least 25 points just off of bonus points, just off of wins going into next week. So he's going to be sitting very pretty. If he wins this week, it's going to be 30. So he still has a very comfortable lead over a lot of the rest of the field going into these playoffs. So he doesn't have to worry about too much. It's going to be a relatively easy ride for Eckridge. Not so much for everyone else. Everyone else is going to have to try to get on his case.
We have, looks like, 6 retirements. Dylan Lee, Buchanan, Hurley, Jet, Adams, and Rodden. 19 cars running, 18 on the lead lap. Brian Yazik is 1 lap down after being involved in the most recent collision. Pace cars will roll off again. Evans, Eckridge, McBride, McQuistion, Bresci, your top 5. And Mahan, Hensley, Pepper, Brown, Silliman, Bresci, your top 10. Ford F500 pace car leaves the racetrack. Green flag back in the air here in Iowa.
Oh, and McBride with a great start over Scott Eckridge. He's going to look to the inside as they head up into 1.
That's a fantastic restart for the 5, but he's going to have to take advantage of these tires now because Eckridge is going to be hard to catch, and he's going to squirt out the turn number 2 and take that spot away and just drive off into the sunset away from McBride. That made him out look silly there. There's a battle going on for 7th place. Hensley and Paul Pepper make it for 6th, and Woody Mahan is here as well.
Wow, Hensley with a big move to the inside of Mahan. Again, trying to get himself, this is the last chance he has to get himself in the playoff. He's going to try to do as much as he can. Mahan's going to try to fight back on the outside as well as Paul Pepper with a run. And Hensley's kind of struggling right now.
We've seen that outside lane kind of get more and more prevalent as the night rolls on and the rubber rolls in, but Greg Evans hangs on to lead 0.2 of a second back to Eckridge, then McBride. But Hensley, Paul Pepper, and Mitch Brown in a pretty good fight for that 7th spot. Travis McQuistion in the 93, he's putting pressure on the back of Rhett McBride here.
Yeah, how about 93 of McQuistion having a great run up in the front here, and gonna try to look around the outside of McBride.
Up front, though, Greg Evans has led every single lap of this race, but Eckridge is trying to deny him a shutout here this evening. Closing in halfway at about 11 laps, and Scott Eckridge wants this lead, but behind him they're still fighting for 3rd. First and 3rd under contention right now.
Yeah, you can see Evans put up, I'm going to imagine he's going to put up quite a fight here. He's just going to go sick in his line. He's going to defend it as much as possible. Can't afford for like Eckridge to get around him.
Slides up the racetrack right in front of the 70. Eckridge's going to cross him over, drive hard down into turn number 1. Is he going to be able to clear him? He does for a moment, but will the 46 try to cross him over now as they exit turn 2? No, he'll stay in behind. And Scott Eckridge is your new leader.
Yeah, and Evans didn't do anything there, and he's going to try to fight back here, but he might just try to follow in by the curtails of the 70 throughout this run.
They made that pretty easy for him as they head down the front straightaway, lap 82 of 180, so just under 100 laps to go. Thomas Bresci, Willie Mahan. Curious to see how Bresci does now that everyone's on the same tire and fuel strategy if he begins to drop through the order again. He was climbing when he had better tires, but obviously when everyone's equalized, you kind of see how people are going to align themselves. Eckridge and Evans continue to fight. I don't think Evans is done trying yet here. And again, I think the track position is super important. It's going to be hard to wrestle it back from the 70 under green. So they might have to get creative on a pit stop later.
I was going to say, I think he might. I think he's realized that him and the 70, they're both pretty equal on pace. I think the really best thing is to stick as close to the 70 as possible. Try to pass them on pit road.
On turn number 4, everyone just kind of getting themselves in a line. Here's Don Runkle Jr. Nick Cohan. He has not made a lot of progress since the restart, Finian. Only up a couple spots right now in 14th. He's got a pretty big gap with the Tyler Dahlgren, so Nick Cohan's just missing something right now to get himself back in the contention to lead.
It's going to be a long climb for him. He might need another caution or two to help him get back up in there. We just stick over under 100 laps to go.
Oh, Bresci up the racetrack, got loose
sideways
on entry. Yep, caution out again. This time it's John Wilco in turn number 4.
And speaking of a caution, there it is. Wilco spinning to the inside. I'm not sure if he had any help.
He's got a bunch of damage on the car, I can tell you that much. That's our 5th caution of the evening. And out of turn number 4, same thing with the 71 again. This time the 62 didn't get it in the wall, but this is the same thing twice in a row here, Finian. Not sure what's up there. I can tell you there's a hit list out for that DeWalt car right now.
Oh, and I think, yeah, I was going to say the Evans might take a look at that, and I see Brooks is pulled in. He might have been parked here.
I'm imagining that's the case. So for the 71 of Gil Brooks,
Disqualified.
that is a disqualification for incidents there, Finian. So that's frustrating, but also... two of the same thing in the same spot, just a couple dozen laps apart from each other.
And on the bright side, yeah. On the bright side, he's currently in on points. Again, Yazik gave up his spot, so he's not fighting with him. So now he's just got to kind of sit, potentially watch this broadcast too, and just kind of check in and see, because if anyone else, if he wants guys like Eckridge and looking through here. Cohen, he wants guys like them to win the race, because if they win, he gets in. If someone else wins, he gets booted out. So I think that Gale Brooks is gonna have his fingers crossed here, just of who's gonna win this race, because it's pretty much all up to these other guys on the track now.
A couple guys on pit road and have received service. Tyler Hensley, one of them. Calvin Pilarski, Timothy Johnson. Just a couple guys fixing damage at this point. We've had 5 cautions here, Finney. We're closing in on halfway. Predictions for the end, I think we know our top 4 best cars at the moment, but Does the 21 get himself back in this fight? He's sitting in 12th.
Oh yeah, I think it was ironic because we were just talking about it 2 hours before the caution came out that he needed a caution to kind of sort the field back out so he can just kind of gain quite a few spots and get everyone back up so he can pass. So yeah, no, I'm not. I literally woke up like an hour before the broadcast.
An hour? I woke up 5 minutes before.
I woke up an hour ago. 5 minutes before the broadcast, but yeah.
I had to go knock on this guy. I had to open the door, and there's pitch black in his room, and he's like, what? He's streaming 5 minutes, buddy. Get off your butt. Let's go.
Yeah, my sleep schedule is a little bit.
Yeah, so is mine. It's fine. I slept. I'm not gonna lie. I slept this afternoon, so I took a nap as well. But I just not 5 minutes before.
So Scott Eckridge, Greg Evans.
Want to try it again? Scott
Eckridge,
there you
Greg
go.
Evans, Brett McBride, Travis Christian, Thomas Pressey, your top 5 there.
I give him hell about it, but I'm just as bad. We're saying?
Oh yeah, I was saying our top 5 there lining up for the restart here. Did we see you guys come down pit road?
A couple guys, mostly just damage repair, nothing.
Yeah, okay. So
extraordinary.
But yeah, high attrition right here. We've lost now 7 drivers of the 25 we started with.
It's almost the third.
Yeah. And still, we're not even halfway out. We're actually just about under halfway. So could potentially lose more.
So I turned 21 the other day.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
I had a lot of virtual friends wish me happy birthday, and some real friends not wish me happy birthday.
I never got the chance to ask you about it. I was going to.
No, completely oblivious. It's fine. It only is one of the most important birthdays ever. It's fine. Shows you how low on the totem pole I am for some people. But
as you say, people should shame you didn't drink. A shame.
That was a Monday.
So, I have a drink.
Fair enough.
Actually, that was the thing that knocked me out. I went.
Says the person who was asleep 5 minutes before the broadcast.
I came back. Well, the reason why my schedule got messed up, I came back. It was like 9:30, and I got poor sleep the night before because I was studying for a test. So, yeah. So then I fell asleep at 9:30. I woke up at like 1:30, and couldn't fall back to sleep. Stayed up all this morning, and I came back after my lab. And I had like 7 hours of classes today, and I just knocked out.
I talked to Amelia today, and I told her about it, and she like just gave me the eyes of like I'm gonna do something about it. You know, it was funny, but it's fine.
Did you say anything today?
No. I'm just not important to some people. I mean, imagine that, Finian.
Oh god.
That an esports broadcaster, the real life friends of an esports broadcaster, just ignoring them. It's fine. Fine.
Need F's in
even
chat.
the Facebook reminder. Come on, I mean that's how I remember everyone's birthday.
That's the only use I have for Facebook nowadays.
Even people in YouTube chat.
Yeah.
Okay, pace car pulls off. We're gonna get back on the horse here. The pace car pulls back off. Scott Eckridge back in the lead. He's been a couple weeks absent. He returns here this week. Green flag back in the air. He'll lead them down. We're halfway through the fuel finale for the regular season.
Yeah, and Greg Evans has quite a bit of a gap to Eckridge there. I'm kind of surprised he wasn't up on his bumper. There's a little bit of separation there between the top 3 drivers. As you see McQuiston trying to fight his way on through third.
Oh, wow, that was really close out of turn number 2. Bressy, McQuiston, and Woody Mahan and Thomas Bressy all really tight.
And you see, Bressy trying to tuck the inside of McQuiston. A lot of racing here going on disc around 5th. But you see Paul Pepper, who's slowly moved in behind him. We can also get on the screen. Where did Paul Pepper start? Because he started quite a bit ways back, I believe.
Paul Pepper started in 10th.
Oh, okay. Not
halfway through the field, and then just 20th at a full grid. So not great starting spot, but running right now in 6th. Had a good night, and we mentioned earlier he dropped through the field, and he has found some pace in that car. There's Tyler Hensley, buddy back there on the inside.
Yeah, he was 13 or 14 at one point, so he really drove his way up through the front. Guy who's not having the best of nights is Hensley. He's driven his way up, but with that damage he got in the opening lap, that's really hurt his car.
Yeah, Mitch Brown has also not had a spectacular night after impressing us early. He's just not quite had the pace that we're used to having him, seeing him have. And here is Mick Cohen trying to get some spots back. How about Jeff Ward? Ever since he got hit by that 32 car, just has been lacking something in that car.
Yeah, that car again. You've got some pretty solid damage to the right side of the car. You can get the wall pretty hard. Also hit Curly really hard. And yeah, like you said, hasn't been able to recover. They see Paul Pepper doing the slide job on the 24.
Oh, throws a block on the 24 on corner exit. What a move!
I was gonna say, he almost got pit maneuver there. Here goes Mahan now trying to go to the inside. It's gonna be 3 wide here, almost.
Well,
Big stack up, and here comes Cohen in behind, also trying to make a few spots.
This is about as tight as you're going to want it, I think. The 3 drops to the inside. How about Bressi rolling that outside lane? He's going to come in. Look at the run he gets. Paul Pepper just does not go anywhere on corner exit, and Mahan jumps to the outside lane. Taking advantage. Here comes Cohen.
Here comes Cohen. 3 wide.
Oh, the 3's going to spin. No, he saves it. Great job there. Jeff Ward's going to jump and take advantage of it.
Oh, 3 wide behind them, though. Behind Paul Pepper. They see them trying to sort themselves out. Here comes Tim Selman on the outside. Hensley looking on the inside. Still not done yet.
3 wide again out of turn number 4. Hensley on the inside. Stillman on the outside. Close quarters there.
Boy.
Paul Pepper right in the middle of the action.
Again, guys playing with inches here. And I see Paul Pepper diving, trying to dive in below Ward. Can't get it done. He loses more spots. So he's dropped back to 12 in 2 laps.
He just tried to throw it in there, but he just power slid that thing. Here's Cohan now up to 7, looking for 6. He's going to dive to the inside. 3 wide here.
Boy.
Tight quarters here. Does the 24 get tagged almost? Contact. The 24 is going to go hard in the fence in turn 4.
Yeah, he hits the wall. There comes Mahan and Cohen now racing it out. I think Cohen's going to get on through. But he's going to try to look to the inside of the 8 car. A lot of action these last 3 laps.
Nick Cohen has just been stampeding his way through, and I don't think Bressi is very happy with how that all went down. Oh, look at Jeff Ward. He charged in the corner hard, too. He's throwing that car sideways. These guys are drifting around the racetrack.
Yeah, you see Bressi almost hit the wall again. Might have some decent amount of damage to that car. And you see Silman and Hensley racing it out.
Mentioned Jeff Ward to the inside of Bressi. Now, does Bressi have any significant... Whoa! He just threw it in there again. He's not going to make this corner here. Finning up the racetrack in turn 4. Doesn't scrape the fence, but a good crossover.
Oh, someone behind him scraped the fence.
It's Silman.
Silman's now going to lose quite a few spots.
Wow, these guys are getting really aggressive right now. Look at Ward just right around the outside of Bressi. Nick Cohen has found another group of cars to attack here. This is a battle for what will eventually be 3rd. McQuistion looking for it, and here comes Nick Cohen to spoil the party.
Yeah, great showing from McQuistion there trying to keep her. Wow, great run by the 21. Just caught up straight to him. He's going to work around the outside of McQuistion. Also going to probably try to work around the outside of McBride.
McBride charged the center of the corner. He's going to lose a lot of speed on exit here, and oh man, the 93 slipped up late in the going, and the 21's going to cross over down to the inside for turn number 1, and Cohen is going to go look for 3rd here.
Yeah, 21 on an absolute tear right now. Well, there's a small gap between him and the leaders, although I think he should be able to make up a few chunks of that.
That's on back here. Now it's Mitch Brown and Thomas Bressi, and I mentioned how Mitch Brown had slid back through the field. Well, he's climbing his way back up again, so pit stop obviously working for the 11.
Yeah, 24, ever since he got that contact with the wall, he's been slowly dropping back. As his teammates out, Hensley in behind him.
Flipping up the racetrack, Mitch Brown will get that spot away. Look at how close these guys are. Nose to tail. Look at Hensley down to the inside now. Paul Pepper just looking beyond. Oh boy. More fights. Travis McQuistion, Brett McBride. This is for 4. And then behind him is Jeff Ward and Woody Mahan. These front 2 are making me nervous. They're running each other way up the racetrack.
They're going at it. McQuistion trying to find a way around McBride, but McBride very consistent on the high lane, able to defend his position.
Quickest car on the racetrack last time through was Nick Cohen in the 21, who is 3rd right now. He's charging them down. Gap is 1.8, or actually, excuse me, 2.5 up to the leader, 1.8 between Cohen and Evans.
Yeah, the only 3 in the 22.7s really are our leaders.
Paul Pepper, Johnson. Johnson actually taking the spot away.
Whoa.
Pepper just smashed the wall, getting in back behind the 28. The more damage on the 3. Please tell these guys there's still 75 laps to go. Calm down, boys. Cohen, and then right behind, there's that battle for 3rd that continues to raid. Guys are getting braver and braver, sending it in deep into the corner, and I don't think McQuistion's going to have enough pace to get this spot.
How about Ward with a recovery? He's found some pace in that car now.
Yes, and he the 21 and the 11 of Mitch Brown have all found something. They were really struggling in the mid part of this race. They've also just found another gear. They're flying right now.
And I think also part of that might be due to the track starting to get rubbered in. I think it's suiting their driving style. And you're seeing Ward now march his way up through the field, even with the damage he had to that car.
Okay, so Nick Cohen is starting to slip off the pace wagon here a little bit. He's down to 1.9 behind Greg Evans, so I wonder if he's abusing his tires like he did the first run. That'd be a concern if this race goes green for a long time.
Yeah, he's still keeping good pace with the leaders. I don't know about him completely reeling it in. He might stabilize it at around 2 seconds behind them, but they see, ooh.
He's been about a third-place car all night. He hasn't been much faster than that.
I was going to say, I think Evans and Eckert have come to be pretty much in their own zip code at this point. They've been consistently breaking away from the rest of the field and kind of been in a world of their own within a second of each other. Haven't seen much separation between them. I see this battle here for 4th place rage on. Bless you.
Thank you. Oh boy. That was professional. All right, Travis McQuistion to the inside, Jeff Ward on the outside lane. Oh, this is going to get tight out of turn 4, and they're going to scrape the wall. The 89 does, at least. Just battling all over the racetrack right now. But none up front. Eckridge continues to lead by 0.8 of a second. Then it's Greg Evans, Nick Cohan. Let's just jump to the top cam here and see the gap. So here is Greg Evans, your leader, down off into turn number 1. Evans, Cohan, McBride, Ward, they're battling for 4th at the moment.
Yeah, Ward trying to muscle his way on through to get in 4th place, maybe have a chance at catching up to Cohan.
I think McBride just used that outside lane, that momentum up there, but Ward just diving it in so deep.
Yeah,
Look at
that's
the slide,
where
right at the racetrack. Slide job at Iowa, never seen that before, but he made it work.
Yeah, I was going to say, he did something similar to Bresci earlier in the run. Mahan behind him losing quite a bit of time. You see McBride trying to work it around him on the inside again, switch back on them. And you see Mitchell Brown starting to move his way up, trying to get 7th away from Mahan.
Can't even get all these guys in one camera shot here, but there's so much action going on. Jeff Ward squirts on through for 4th. McBride, McQuistion, Mitch Brown up to 7th in that number 11 car. Cohan has really fallen off the pace the last couple laps. He's 3 seconds back from the leaders now.
Yeah, he's been losing now a few tenths a lap. So as you said, gap's expanding. I think Ward might be able to catch him at the rate they're going.
Another driver that's fallen off the pace is Thomas Bresci. He's back to 12th now. He might actually lose 13th to Brian Yazek. Cars are just like someone threw a bunch of paint at a wall. I mean, they're just all over each other. McBride is also beginning to slip down the order, so we're starting to see how's the tire. Yeah, so the tire and fuel strategy kind of playing in here a bit. And Woody Mahan come to pit road in the 8 car.
Yeah, not sure why.
Well, maybe just to get to the end here, Finian. It's about 65 laps, so it might as well.
I mean, I would probably actually. I think Greg Evans just came in.
Greg Evans is still on the racetrack.
I saw someone else going away, so never mind.
The 8 car is the only car on pit road at this time. We expect to see some more here in a couple laps.
I'm kind of surprised that Mahan didn't try to even now maybe playing some strategy here. You see Brown working around Hensley.
I'm just fascinated how quickly Cohen has dropped off. He's 4 seconds back from Scott.
Yeah, and I was going to say Ward is actually about to pass him in a few laps. You see, woo, Hensley, and then Brown with the switchback here to the inside.
And Nick Cohen is just, he's fast on fresh tires, but he wears those things out quickly.
Yeah. I think that's going to be the one thing that hurts him going forward. Is actually, if we can get up to that battle for 3rd place is now about to start heating up. You see Cohen, you see Ward.
Whoa!
Wow,
Here he comes!
Wow.
He's going to just shoot to the
Cohen
inside. He'll take this away.
Very slow off the corner.
Yeah, Cohen is way off pace right now, half a second or more. And I remember a couple laps ago, he was quicker than the leader, so he's just beating those tires up. And actually, interesting, if we ride on more the right front here, I know Iowa's had a big place for brakes, but I wonder how hard he's driving this thing around.
Pretty much,
turn number 1.
Probably none, because he's trying to run the high lanes to get into it. It's killing his lap, and he's just not able to keep up with a lot of these guys.
Oh, he's coasting. That's why, Finian.
Oh,
he's got the engine shut off down into the corner, so he's planning something strategy-wise here.
I'm guessing he's going to try to make it to the end here.
Oh boy, 3 wide.
I'm guessing that's what I'm guessing he's trying to do.
I would assume, yeah, that's gonna be my guess. So he has to go. That's 84 laps. About that's.
I mean, I was a short track, so
Yeah,
I think it might be.
Well, he clearly needs to hit a number, but remember he tried this at Pocono and it did not work for him. So we'll see if it works tonight.
Well, again, I think he's just probably trying to set himself up for something. So nice to see that it's that. I thought he shot through those tires. I was gonna say that it's almost impressive how much he shot through.
That could be
them.
part of it, and that's why you might have bailed on going fast. But look at the 44 and 11. Ooh, close quarters there, and the 44 bails out of that before it becomes an issue.
Ends up getting into see Mitchell Brown working in the outside lane, trying to get around, and Johnson also slowly following his way through.
Yeah, Johnson has been really impressing me tonight. I mean, he was in a big crash at the beginning. That car was destroyed. I thought he'd be retired, but look at him running inside the top 10, and this is why he's so far up in the points.
I was going to say, here's another thing, too. So Sullivan's our points leader. Johnson behind him by 1 point. If they finish the way they are now, Johnson should be able to get the points lead away, and points leader will get 10 extra bonus points. Second 5 will be third 2 or 3. I have to double check on that, but yeah. So they're fighting. The points guys are still fighting for a bonus point. So this will be big for Johnson, even considering how tore up the car is. Although that hurt him too much, as he's currently in 8th place.
The 11 car, Mitch Brown continues to impress. He's in 7th right now, looking for 5th. There's actually 5th just up the road in front of them. They're battling right now. That's McBride and McQuistion. But we're going to pull away from this to show you the battle for the lead. Greg Evans is actually reeled in Scott Eckridge here. 2/10 quicker last lap.
Yeah, and again, I was said before this run started that really what Greg Evans needs to do, needs to make sure he's at least in behind Eckridge. But here he's beating him on pace. So I'm kind of curious now, will he just kind of sit in behind him and try to beat him on pit road? Or will he try to pass him on the track here?
If I'm Greg Evans, I don't have the patience to wait. I'm going to go. You got to win this race second. It's not going to do you any good, and I don't think you can count on your pit stop being quicker, especially with the way it's implemented. So I think you just got to go for it and hope that you have the pace to make it stick. We'll see, though. He's 2.5 tenths behind. The battle for this is the battle for 5th, and Rhett McBride is taking it away from McQuistion. Oh, here we go. And for a moment, they were side by side for a second off in 3 and 4, but they've sort of themselves back out now.
Keep an eye on them. I think Evans is eyeing to make his move in 3 and 4.
Tyler Hensley down on pit road in the number 44 here. That's presumably his final stop of the night. Okay, so we're closing on 50 to go here, Finney. And between these top 2, which one are you going to pick?
Honestly, I'm going to say Greg Evans. I think he's got the fight that he needs in that car. That's kind of been lacking the last, not the last few weeks at the beginning of the season. He's gotten that fight back in these last few weeks. He's been up there every single week, up fighting for the win.
Lap traffic there impeding the progress of the 70. Tyler Gulliger, 16th right now. And Evans got through there a lot cleaner than Eckridge did.
So I'm going to lose a few tenths of a second here, nothing too major, still again within range. And I imagine we're going to see pit stops here soon if we can pull up the laps in this pit for me. Yeah, there you can see you guys are pretty much within that window where if you're going to make a pit stop for the end, you're going to do it now.
Polarski on pit road, so is Timothy Johnston.
Yep, and so again, now question is one of the leaders going to come in?
Mitch Brown up to 6th place now. And Cohan and McBride, actually Cohan's lost that spot to Jeff Ward. He's on a different strategy here though. So this 21 trying to throw a Hail Mary and get a second victory. It didn't work for him at Pocono on the same kind of strategy. We'll see if he outlasts tonight and makes it work. Scott Eckridge now battling more lap traffic. There's Tyler Hensley. These cars are on fresh tires.
I was going to say, they're battling him as they're working around with fresher tires. Hensley now working to the inside.
And maybe Greg Evans beats Eckridge to pit road by a lap and he gets the lead back here, Finney. They're running about 1.5 seconds off their best times, so that would easily clear Eckridge if Evans were to come in a lap too soon. So
yeah, I would say right now, though, they're playing a game of chicken as far as who's going to come in first.
Yeah, and if you're Evans, though, I mean, this is how you win this race. I mean, I think you're quicker than Eckridge right now, so you don't want to come in and give up that advantage, but at the same time, come to pit road 1 lap early, you're good. But if the 70 stays out longer, then he can pull an overcut.
He needs to find the exact window where he feels the tires are just starting to fall off, and time where he can make sure he beats Eckridge to pit road. Because if Eckridge comes down At the same time, if Evans could beat him off by having a quicker pit stop, but I don't think he wants to try to bank on that. But here comes Evans. He's going to try to pass him on the track here. Going to look to the inside, but not able to make the pass.
At the very least, if you're Greg Evans, you have to pit with Scott Eckert.
Yeah, which I think honestly he might do. I don't entirely see the overcut working.
I just worry that Eckert is quicker on fresh tires. So if you just try to stay, I mean, you can get the track position away from him now if you pit one lap early. But it looks like he's just going to try to take it away and take command of it. But the other problem is if you pass him here, which I think Eckert might actually let him do, if you get him past him, then the 70 can pull that strategy on you and get ahead of you again. So you got to be careful if you're Greg Evans how you play this.
Yeah, like I said, game of chicken between both these guys. A lot of mind games going on. A lot of, again, depending on how they're running could really affect the strategy, as you were saying. So keeping an eye on them. I'm trying to look. Decent amount of the field has made their pit stops. So it's a lot of guys still running on the track. So I'm kind of curious how these guys are going to potentially run to the end. I don't know, because...
Well, we've seen Cohan trying, and he's the one on 48 lap old tires, so Mitch Brown could conceivably make it, but Brown has not been saving like Cohan has been. Yazik is on the same strategy, as is Wilco.
So that makes you think these guys appear have to pit.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
So, but I'm kind of curious why they haven't done that already, because ideally you would want to try to, you know...
Split it in half?
Yeah. You know, maximize the tire life, especially because we're seeing these guys, the follow-up here, pretty significant.
Yeah, it's significant, but at the same time, these guys are only racing each other, so there's not much of a point to pit now. I mean, that way they'll have fresher tires later in the race when it might matter some more, so I think that's why they're doing the strategy, but I'm just surprised that Evans hasn't decided to come on down and just take advantage of the undercut while it's still available. Because if you pit now, you get those fresh tires, you are running quicker than the guy who's still out on old tires. It's a great strategy as long as this guy, Scott Eckert, doesn't stay out too long, and then when he gets fresh tires, he just blows right by you. So you have to be very careful how you play this if you're Evans. These guys are pretty much matching each other's pace right now, 100th per 100th every single lap. But it's going to start getting really annoying because of all this lap traffic that's passing them back. It's not going to be a whole lot of fun for these guys.
And speaking of which, here comes Dolger now starting to make a move on these guys. They kind of have to move over for him because Dolger is, again, significantly faster with those fresher tires.
Waiting for that 46 to peel off. All he needs is one lap, but the thing is you can't count on Eckridge coming in only one lap behind you, and once that gap gets bigger, the 70 has you know, a grenade to throw back at you later in the race, so you have to be careful.
So everyone 11th on back is going to pit stop. The entire top 10 has yet to make their potentially final pit stop of the race.
I'll tell you what, though, Evans is putting on a fight. I mean, again, this year he's not had the pace that he's had in seasons past, but he is putting on a show right now and showing everybody that he does have the pace this year. He just needs a little bit of luck and a little bit of help here. Depending on what the 70 does, that's going to determine the winner of this race, and that 46 car could go to victory lane tonight, and that would certainly throw the Fuel's final picture into chaos here as we get towards the end of the regular season, which ends in 39 laps.
I don't know what it was, but really the last three races, Evans has been up there fighting at the front, which is what we expect him to do most of the season, but had a poor start to the season. Here he is trying to recover for it and has a shot again of getting a win here, but he missed it a few times these last few weeks, but he's been really fighting his butt off.
Ryan Yazik on pit road, McQuistion, Bressie, and others making their final pit stop. Bressie is out and complete. These guys just continue to just match each other's pace every single lap. We're getting down to it here, Finney. About 14 minutes of racing remaining. If we go green to the end, I assume we're going to, just based on how we've been running the last couple laps. There's Tim Silliman, the number 6 car, who's running in 8th place, and has only pit one time tonight, and so has Greg Evans. So these guys are on the same strategy.
Whoa!
Woo-hoo! Saw that coming from a mile away. That was going to be close. Evans just taking the fight to Eckridge, just can't quite get enough purchase to get alongside him, though.
Has not been able to do that. We've seen him been able to make lunges, but just kind of loses that momentum because Eckridge's playing defensive here. He's just been able to just keep it away from Evans.
All right, for a moment, let's pull you back to Nick Cohan. Let's ride on board here for a second. Still saving, clutching in, and reducing the RPMs that engine is turning in order to save fuel. He's running.
He's actually not running that much slower than our leaders, interestingly enough.
And Greg Evans got bottled up there by a lap car and lost some ground here. But you're right, he is running a pretty decent lap times. So if he's been saving for about 20 laps now. Yeah. So he's, I don't know how much he has to save, but my only concern if he's been saving for this long, he's certainly got to save
and here comes Eckrich, and Evans trying to get slowed down as
well.
No!
He spins coming to pit road.
And,
no caution.
Man.
And all that advantage, and that's that he needed to get to pit road though.
Yeah.
He needed to do that.
And I think that, and he waited, I think, a little bit too long there. Tried to play reactionary to the 70, and missed, and almost missed getting on pit road. He's lucky that he didn't shoot past.
Yeah, that was about as close as you can get without actually missing it. And Eckrich did a great job. And he was a downshift that was messy for the 46.
Oh.
He did a good job getting in. Again, I think he actually lost less time spinning out and getting in here than he would have if he had stayed out. And so there goes a 70, the 46. Oh man, this is going to be bad.
Yeah. That might have done him in there.
And the 46 cannot get into the finals unless he wins this race, and that just threw a big wrench in the fight.
Leaders in a pit road. I expect a few more if we want to try to go through the field. So we've got Jeff Ward currently in the lead, Rhett McBride.
Okay, so also, this is an important battle to watch right here. That's Scott Eckrich blowing right by Nick Cohan. And Nick Cohan, if he continues this strategy, will cycle out to be your leader. So the 70 just unlapped himself. Oh, did he?
Yeah, he just unlapped himself.
Okay, so...
Well, he passed Cohan.
Oh, gotcha.
He's got
still a lap down too, right?
And now he just unlapped himself.
So Nick Cohan is going to cycle out to be your leader as long as no one else in front of him is playing the strategy.
Which I don't think there is actually. In fact, he's got the leaders in front of him. So Conan currently in fourth, waiting for the guys ahead of him to hit.
And Rhett McBride comes to pit road.
A little bit hot.
Whoa!
Very
yeah,
hot.
he's hit hot, and he hits the wall on the entrance as well.
Oh man! So that's gonna
probably
take him out of
penalty.
it. Yeah, he came out at like 50-something miles an hour. I'll be amazed if he didn't.
Now we'll keep an eye on the 5's pit stop here. Paul Pepper and Mitch Brown fighting for the lead, but that's Nick Cohan right there.
I think we might see Mitch Brown come in.
Yep. Oh, nope, that's turn 2.
Nope,
that is turn 4. Okay, I'm just facially disoriented.
And he gets in.
Everyone seems to be a tricky place, and looks like McBride is in his box. We'll see if he stays there longer.
I'll be amazed if he didn't get a penalty. So we're going to see if it's...
And it looks like he is serving a penalty. So Rhett McBride penalized too fast onto pit road in that number 5 car.
The second mistake we've seen getting onto pit road from the leaders especially, so tough break for them. But Paul Pepper's currently a leader, and actually Cohen's catching up. I'm kind of curious, does Cohen turn up the wick or...
No, he's been running 23.5s for the last 15-20 laps.
No, I can hear him off there. I'm just kind of curious because he's been catching the 3 of Paul Pepper. Actually, let's check. I think Paul Pepper might be on the same sequence as him. Is he also?
No, same.
No, okay.
He might be on the same sequence, but no, he's not. He's definitely has to make another pit stop. So he's definitely have to come in. So here's the difference. Scott Eckrich is now 15.9 seconds, or 15.1 seconds behind Nick Cohan, and he's got 25 laps to get it done. I think that's easy. So Cohan, this is exactly what happened at Pocono. The question is, can Cohan save enough and turn up the wick fast enough to make this work? He doesn't need to win this race, but it would certainly be awesome.
I was going to say, I think what he's looking at is those 5 bonus points that he can get from getting an extra win. It goes a long way, especially when you're trying to fight Eckrich for the championship. So, I think he's just throwing something at the wall because really any other finishing position is not going to matter in the grand scheme of things other than getting a win and getting those bonus points.
And boy, did Greg Evans get shafted there on pit road.
That pretty much threw his race away. He's going to need a caution to get himself back in this.
And I'm not seeing that be super likely right
now.
now.
I would say we can cut to the blimp cam to get a look. You'll see that a lot of people, everyone up.
Feels pretty spread out here, so I don't see it being super likely. We've been green for a long time at this point. And now the gap between Ekrich and Kohan is only 12 seconds. Actually, it's 11 and a half now. There's no way, unless Kohan really turns it up. Now, if there's a caution, Nick Kohan is the smartest guy in the world.
Yeah.
If it goes green, he's in big trouble.
I'm sure he's probably looking at the relative, probably probably not pleased with the way the gap is looking for him. I thought it would have worked out a little bit better for him, but yeah, Ekrich is able to take out chunks at a time over Cohen. So Cohen's kind of a sitting duck here and just kind of hoping, I guess probably hoping for caution right now, because he'll be sitting pretty in that case.
So Paul Pepper is still your leader. He's still out on the racetrack.
Yeah,
he has to make a piss out. So I don't think he's been saving, but he's still hoping for a yellow, just like Kohan and Greg Evans are. Although Evans on a different strategy. So Evans has pulled his way up into 4th, so he's not... It wouldn't be a disastrous night, but the only way he was going to get himself in was to win this race. And with 20 laps to go, he's going to need a lot of help to make it happen. Gap between Kohan and Ekrich is 7.4 seconds. It's dropping it over a second a lap. 20 to go here. Paul Pepper leads. Nick Kohan, Scott Ekrich, Greg Evans, Jeff Ward, your top 5. About 8 minutes of racing remaining. There's Don Runkle Jr., who's had kind of a rough night, riding around in 17th at the moment. Tim Silliman on and off the pit road, maybe trying an overcut strategy. Just not enough laps left to really make that work effectively, I don't think. 6 seconds between Kohan and Ekrich.
Yeah, I was about to say he's pretty much going to catch him at this point. Yeah. Also, I'm just kind of curious. So yeah, gap 5 seconds between them.
Paul Pepper into pit road. Just makes it in. Now Kohan assumes the lead. It's 18 laps, 7 minutes worth of racing, but at 1 second, more than 1.2 seconds a lap, Finian, it's only going to take him about 5 laps to get there. So Kohan is just riding out front, biding his time, hoping and praying that someone will make a mistake that brings out a yellow, but we've been green for the better part of 80 or 90 laps at this point. So I don't see that happening, and Ekrich is now 4 seconds back, 3.8. You can almost, it's like a timer counting down. 3.6. Now the blue car in the mirror. And he's still saving fuel, Finian. I don't even know if he can make it to the end still.
He's definitely going to try here. He's got 60 laps to go. You can see off in the distance of the blue car slowly closing in.
And the gap between Ekrich and Evans is 5 seconds, Finian. So unless he's pulling in about a third of a second a lap, it ain't going to happen. And that's just unrealistic.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be kicking himself in a lot of ways there. Pretty much had the win within sights, and then just wasn't able to execute there. That mistake on pit road pretty much costing it in there.
1.6 now between Kohan and Ekrich. 15 to go.
Yeah, let's try it on board here for a lap or two. Because actually in a lap or two he'll get there, but you'll see how much he's able to take out of Cohen's lead. He's actually running a conservative line here on the outside.
1 second now between these top two. 14 to go. And Kohan's out of time.
Sure, Cohen would have wished that this race was 15 laps shorter.
Half a second. A third of a second. Here comes Scott Ekrich. He's going to blow around the outside of the 21 like he's not even there. No, he's going to choose the inside now as Kohan goes up to block, but it's going to be a futile fight here. The 21 of Kohan, just like at Pocono, sees that blue number 70 drive right on through, and the fuel strategy idea not going to work again for Nick Kohan. Scott Ekrich jumps on through. He's looking for his 6th victory of the season. He's got 13 laps to get it done, and Greg Evans, who needed to win this race, is caught back in traffic. 4.5 seconds behind Nick Kohan and 5 behind the leader.
Oh!
Paul Pepper spins, and he spins out right in the middle of the racetrack. No caution.
Yeah, I think if she gets it sorted out here and joins the track properly, we're gonna remain green here.
And Greg Evans and Nick Kohan just smashed the steering wheel in frustration.
Yeah, I would say that happened right in front of Evans. I'm sure you saw in the mirror. Was just hoping for a caution. Wasn't able to get it.
Even NASCAR, or even iRacing's cautions are inconsistent, just like NASCAR. There's no way you can do it that all the cautions are going to be consistent. But the 3 car goes for a spin. No yellow, 11 to go. Scott Ekrich already has a 2-second lead on Kohan. Greg Evans is eating into the lead that Nick Kohan has on him. But the best he's going to be able to do is second tonight, unless while Pepper spins out of turn 4 again on the racetrack this time. I don't see that happening.
I'm sure he hopes someone else's arm is itchy because he is not looking good for the 21-46 at the moment. As far as getting the wins concerned, they'll both get away with really good finishes here tonight. But again, well, for Cohen, it's not going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things. For Evans, it's going to be him not being able to defend his title. 9 laps to go in the regular season here for the Fuel HostVenom Cup Series. Next week, we begin the Fuel Finals at Rockingham Speedway. But in 9.5 laps, make it 8.5 laps now, Scott Eckrich is going to pick up his 6th win of the season if he just continues doing what he's doing. Cohan, 3.8 back, nothing that he can do. Greg Evans, he has not been quicker than Scott Eckrich. He's got no opportunity under green to go ahead and take Scott Eckrich back. So unless caution comes out in the next 2 or 3 laps, this title hopes are... Oh, caution is out! Oh, boy.
Tyler Dulger spun around with 8 laps to go, and that changes everything.
And the plot thickens right there, so major damage to Tyler Dulger. Not sure what happened to him.
Wow.
And I'm sure a big smile on Cohen and Evans' face just lit up.
Well, only one of them can... Whoa. Oh, boy. Here's a look at it. He's out in turn number 4. 93 just... 88 just body slammed each other, and then the 88 or the 89 got tagged. That was Jeff Forty who was running 4.
And Florski, wow.
Wow, that was a weird one. Take another look.
Like a tag team match over there. You see the 93 initiate, and then the 89 had nowhere to go. He hit him.
Okay, well, we're going to cut right back because I want to see what happens here, Finney.
Yeah. So, so I think... Actually, I don't even know if Cohen's going to pit or not because we're only going to get a restart with about 4 or 3 laps to go.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, if I'm Cohen... I mean, there's going to be strategies played. I would just stay out. The single file restarts. Take the jump. Pray for a caution.
Yeah. And there you can see. I don't think we're going to have any. Yep,
oh, okay. Whoa! Okay. Everyone. Why? Contact there with the 93. Jesus. As everyone strategizes, but everyone seems satisfied. I'm amazed and shocked that the 46 didn't come to pit road. That's an easy one, Finian. I mean, the 70 is on older tires now. I know you're only at a couple laps, but if you had just come to pit road, everyone would have followed you. And you potentially have gotten yourself into victory lane.
I think he probably didn't want to bank on that.
I guess.
Because there's a risk playing with that. Because remember last week, he made a pit stop in the late part of the race, put him in the back with traffic.
Maybe he learned.
Yeah, and got himself taken out here. I mean, he's pretty much going to line up behind Eckrich, too. He didn't go and stayed out, so got some damage to his right front. But
we're going single file restarts, so it's
sorry.
So Cohen's also going to not get a great restart on these old tires.
So
this is
effectively Evans has only got to fight Eckrich now. I'm just kind of curious now who's got the better tires. If you saw Eckrich, he was running the outside lane for he was running very conservative. I don't think Evans did the same thing. So I'd say Eckrich has some better tires right now, which is not looking good for Evans. So
we're gonna have maybe 3 laps to go here when they get the restart. And honestly, I don't think these guys did themselves any favors by staying out. I mean, Eckrich is the quickest car on the racetrack. No one's going to beat Eckrich on the same strategy that Eckrich is on. So you had to do something, and nobody did anything. And I think that was. And granted, you're right. I don't think they could have banked on anyone else coming behind. But this is one of those frustrating scenarios where if you could just get the field to cooperate with you.
Yeah, I was going to say that's where you got to play politician, kind of hope that everyone else follows you, but again, I'm sure he didn't want to. I'm sure that Evans didn't want to bank on it because that was more of a risk than where he is now.
Yeah, and you're right about that, but at the same time, I just don't see how anyone's going to be able to take even a candle to what Scott Eckrich is about to lay down on the restart here.
Well, I'm thinking Evans is probably going to lick the sand and send it in one of these corners, trying to catch up to Eckrich.
Well, he's on equal tires as Eckrich, but Eckrich is going to have the better jump, and 46 can't beat the 70 to the throttle pedal. Got to be behind on the loud pedal when it comes to being in 2nd or 3rd or 4th or, anywhere beyond 1st. So we're going to only have a 2-lap shootout, I think.
Oh, boy.
So maybe this was an okay strategy because I don't think tires would have done you a whole lot of good. I mean, there'd certainly be better. I mean, for Cohan, at least, it would be a hell of a lot better with what he's about to restart on, I can tell you that. I mean, he's starting on tires that are pretty much just plastic at this point. The thing is I don't even think, Finian, that the braking zones at Iowa are not that hard. I mean, if this was Martinsville, I could see this maybe working because you could charge the corner and knock them out of the way. But at Iowa, the 70 is going to be gone by the time they get to the corner, and you can't just sail it on in there. You're not going to make the corner. So
Carl Edwards maneuver.
I mean, you could try. I think the 70 is going to be gone by the time they get to turn 1, and he won't look back. 21's not going to finish second, I'll tell you that.
So he's pretty much saying, you know, he's got very old tires in that car. I'm sure these 2 laps can't go on any longer for the 21 to come in. He's just going to try to hang on and get what he can. Evans will definitely get around him for second, but again,
caution was 10 laps sooner.
Yeah.
All right, lights are off on the pace car. I was waiting for him to come off. 3 to go, so it's going to be 2 when we get the restart. If the caution comes out, the race is over. Although I have a hunch that's not really going to affect a whole lot of things. Greg Evans, I can guarantee you, is going to be right on this 21's bumper. He might try to lay back a little bit, but you have to be careful not to get caught by the police, the fuel police, for doing something like that. Got to behave on these restarts. But single file is going to hurt the 21 and the 46 immensely right now.
What we might see here is Evans probably put a little bit of a gap to the 21, gas it up, and try to get a run to him on the inside of turn 1. So
well, I don't think the 21's the one he needs to worry about. I think it's the 70.
Well, he needs to try to get around Cohen, because Cohen's going to be defending for his life again, just trying to hold on to any spot.
I would be pushing the 21 to get him up to the 70 so that the distance is as little as possible. Pace car is going to roll off. 2 to go in the regular season finale for the Fuel HostVenom Cup Series in the 2019 A season. Scott Eckridge leads, Cohan second, Greg Evans third. Green flag back in the air, and Evans got a horrible restart, and he's gone, and Eckridge is going to have an easy sail to victory here.
Actually, Cohen's going to have a bit of a run to the inside of Evans, but he's not inside of Eckridge, not going to be able to hold on at all.
Eckridge is gone.
Yeah, and Eckridge is pretty much gone at this point. A lap and a half left to go. You see Evans going through Cohen, and Cohen is going to hold on for dear life in behind them. Johnson and Bressy side by side.
Oh, huge crash behind. A horrible collision. Caution is out. Race is over. And I think it is the 8 car of Woody Mahan, Scott Eckridge, your winner here at Iowa. A horrible collision. We'll check that out in a minute, but let's just watch these guys come on through. The white flag and the caution flag are in the air. And Greg Evans did get that second spot away in the nick of time, but the 21 of Cohan is also spun around. I'm not sure if that was before or after.
Oh yeah,
I think it was after.
Yeah, it was after in turn 1, so I'm not sure what happened with him.
Scott Eckridge comes on through, and for the 6th time this season, he didn't need to do it. The guy behind him did. But checkered flag waves, and Greg Evans is 1 spot short. But Eckridge going to pick up another one here at Iowa.
Yeah, just really, really tough break for Evans. You see everyone else lining up. Ooh. Was it Ward that got it to Evans?
Discussion there going on, I'll say. And,
oh boy, these guys not happy with each other at all.
Cohan is currently credited with 3rd.
I would say he should be credited 3rd. I'm not sure if Ward actually passed him before the line, because he can get a black flag for that.
Okay, so we'll go back and check out those issues in a minute, but we'll watch Scott Eckridge come on through. Cohan giving a little celebratory bump here. Everyone's giving a celebratory bump, it looks like. And the bonus points are going to be crazy for the 70 car. Here's a look at your results. Eckridge, Evans, Cohan, Johnson gets the top 5. How about Bressy getting the top 5 as well? Good result there.
Yeah, good result for those drivers there. And you look down the rest of the order. Jeff Ward going to finish. Ooh, I think Jeff Ward did get a black flag.
Oh boy!
Look at the gap, 31 seconds. So he got put to the end of the tail end of the line. But there you see Scott Eckridge doing his burnouts for the 6th time this season, and man, he's pretty much having Greg Evans' season last year. And speaking of Greg Evans, he's not going to be able to defend his title coming to the season. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be very disappointed with that.
In hindsight, the tires wouldn't have done a thing for him. And I think had Cohan come too, maybe they would have had something for Eckridge. But I knew as soon as they stayed out on the racetrack behind the 70, there's no way they were going to get him, especially only with a 2-lap run. So they needed that Paul Pepper spin to be the caution, not the Dulger incident about 20 laps later. But Eckridge picks up another one. His trophy shelf is getting heavy. But while we're here, let's go back and let's take a long look at those issues that happened on the restart. So it was quite a mess.
Yeah. So we'll take we'll look at what happened with Mahan to bring out the caution.
Yeah. So the 8 car took a big hit in turn 3. It was a horrible collision. I saw it out of the corner of my eye here. Once we get a better look at this. So here's the 8 car.
Whoa.
It was alongside the 28. What happened here? Oh, he gets turned from the 11.
Oh, yeah.
And that's correct. And Yazzik gets a piece of it. Big crash there. And then the 89 and the 21, they get to the start-finish line, and what happens here? This is long after the yellow flag is out.
Oh!
Whoa, what happened there? Why was the 21 upset with the 89?
I don't know. Oh, so yeah, it's going.
He just locked up
Yeah,
trying to
he
avoid.
wasn't able to slow down in time. Oh, even Rusty got turned around by Johnson. Just,
Maybe, I mean, it might have just been a playful fight at the start-finish line there.
I guess so. Although, yeah, I'm not sure if Jeff Ford realized that he was supposed to let on Sean by because he got scored in 10th. I'm not sure that's going to be corrected after the race. Not that it really matters too much for those guys, but.
On board Greg Evans there.
And then
Bressie got turned. Bressie was credited with 5th. I'm sure he'll be happy with that, but oh boy. Okay, well that wraps things up here. Let's take one more look at our results sheet before we head on. There's 11th through 20th here. McBride comes home in 12th. McQuistion in 13th. Disappointing runs for both of those guys considering how strong they were earlier. Tim Silliman 16th. Not a great run for the 6th, but okay on points. And then a couple did not start there. Buchanan out early. But for the most part, Finian, a crazy wild race, but Greg Evans just too short. Strategy did not play out in his favor tonight.
yeah, I was gonna say that, and also just that mistake on pit rail was pretty much the nail in the coffin. I mean, he had a complete chance at beating Eck, which was arguably the faster car.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating because if you look back, I was saying he's got to pit now. He waits just a little bit too long, and that's what hurt him.
Yeah,
He could have won this race and been in the finals, but not to be tonight. We'll jump the break. We'll talk to your winner and a couple others in a moment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
most, driving is just a mundane task between point A and point B. Nothing more. It's the frustration of traffic at 8 a.m., the feeling of sickness on a long ride. The car? Just a tool. It's supposed to be practical, reliable, and fast. But the speed is really the reason cars exist, born out of a necessity to make that A to B trip just a little bit faster. Some have a deeper connection with cars, found somewhere in the bond of man and machine, a desire to be part of something bigger than yourself. It's the extension of mind and body to something more exciting than just another appliance. And these people never cared about practicality or reliability. To them, the only thing that matters is speed. We're born with a competitive nature, part of a biological necessity that has not yet worn off with time. People have raced for thousands of years, and that competition has transcended history and found its way to the industrial age. Railroads raced to build across the country, replacing the horses whose strength is still used as a benchmark for power today. And as personal vehicles became popular, the railroads died off. What once was the quickest way across the country became snail's pace in comparison. The interstate highway system expanded and cars populated every driveway. And the competition between types of transport quickly transitioned into the race to have the fastest car. Bragging rights. Manufacturers like Porsche, Ferrari, and BMW emerged in auto racing, each trying to one-up the other. Building engines became an arms race. Who could build the fastest dinosaur-powered legs? So while the passion for cars has died for most, there are still people that are fascinated by racing. The sights, the sounds, the smell of burning rubber and spent race fuel lingering in the air, this is what attracts us to the sport of auto racing. We are empowered by drivers that climb in impossibly fast cars and put everything on the line for the sake of competition. Drivers who know that one slip-up can lead to disaster. And for the longest time, wishing to be a race car driver was just a childhood dream. All we could ever be was a spectator. Opportunities? Limited and expensive. Reserved only for the who's who of the racing world. Until now.
Welcome back live to Sim TV, here now with eventual 5th place finisher Tim Johnson. After it was a wild night out there, Tim. I mean, you're all over the place, up and down the grid, through and through battles, but you had a big dent on your nose for most of the night after being involved in a collision early. A lot of resilience in that team and a good season, a good regular season so far, but you'll be competing in the Fuel Finals, and it's been a great season, and congrats on a top 5 finish tonight.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, the first accident kind of put us back a lot. kind of makes you wonder what might have been if didn't have all the damage on the nose. But we just kept digging and kind of got lucky with that late caution. Pitted about halfway through the last run and was at least going to have a top 10 night, but we ended up.
What do you think has been the biggest change this year? It seems like this year the 28 team is so much more consistent. Has it been the team? Has it been the driver? What's been the biggest change? Is it the package as well?
Yeah, I think some of it's the package. Honestly, it's really great teammates and being able to come out and practice every once in a while before the races. That really helps. Ran 100 and some odd laps last night. So just having good teammates, and that's.
All right, Tim. Well, a solid top 5 finish for the 28. Thanks for talking to us. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks for what you guys do.
I appreciate it. Next, we're going to talk to third place finisher Nick Cohan. There was some drama there at the end with Nick getting turned into the fence, or actually turning himself into the fence after didn't see the yellow flag. Nick, I know the strategy didn't work out in your favor. You came up a couple spots short, but walk us through those closing laps when that caution came out. What the decision process was there.
I was garbage tonight. I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I'm normally pretty decent at this track, but I don't know. I was just way off tonight. So I figured I'd gamble on some strategy since tonight didn't really mean too much. I gambled on a strategy earlier in the race. We had that long green flag run. I said I'm pitting lap 70, and I come down pit road and the caution comes out. Really threw a curveball and everything. And then I was all the way in the back. So then that last run there, I had taken 2 tires. It helped the car turn a lot better because the car was just way too tight. Tried to make up some time. Got up to third and kind of just stalled out there, which is kind of what I figured would happen. So then I tried to see how close we were on fuel and just started saving a little bit here and there. And I was like, maybe I could make it. And we were gonna make it. I was to the green on all my lights to make it on fuel that last green flag run. So we probably would have ended up third or fourth. Which is where we ended up anyway, luckily. But that caution came out at the end there, and then my dad would be pissed if I pit because he watches all my races and yells at me every time I pit. So I figured, well, I'm just gonna stay out because I figured there'd be a wreck, and that happened. And I came off of turn 4 and I saw the white flag on my screen, and I had 3-4 wide in my mirror, so I was watching them the whole straightaway. And when I came in, and the caution was already out, and I didn't know it, came into turn 1, and I was like almost into Greg's rear bumper. So I just, with 95 lap old tires, it's kind of hard to get it slowed down quick without crashing. So it looked really stupid, and it was stupid. But I guess thanks to iRacing for putting me back in third. That they shouldn't have done that, but whatever. It's we had to gamble on strategy somehow tonight, and we definitely were not a top 5 car, and to be honest, I don't even think we were a top 10 car. I don't think I had the speed for that tonight. So glad we gambled on some strategy tonight in the CG Automotive Toyota Camry. But we have some work to do in the playoffs here. With strategy game has been way off lately, but some tracks, the bigger tracks, I think we'll have a ton of speed to be able to keep up with the top 3. So.
All right, Nick Cohan, third tonight. We'll see you next week at Rockingham, Nick. Good luck.
All right, thanks, Scott.
All right, and second place driver, Greg Evans, and this is where it gets interesting for all you folks at home. We said earlier in the night that it would be impossible for Greg Evans, essentially impossible for Greg Evans to get into the Fuel Finals without winning the race. Well, he didn't win the race. He came home in second place, but Greg, with the 71 parking it earlier after 2 collisions, you're in the Fuel Finals and get to defend your title this year. How does it feel, and what a race that was?
Man, it feels pretty good. I mean, we honestly didn't think we had a chance to get in. I was just trying to go for the win tonight and just kind of letting the points play out the way they did. And I knew with Gal, I hate to see him get knocked out and stuff. He's a teammate of mine, but that's part of the race. We've had a really rough year so far, and here lately, besides the mistakes I've been making, we've been a lot better. So hopefully we can go into the playoffs with some momentum.
Yeah, the momentum you mentioned, Greg. I mean, the last couple weeks, the performances have been so much better than they were at the beginning of the season. What's changed? Has it been inside that race car? Has it just been getting used to the package? Has it been the tracks? It just seems like that 46 team has really improved the last few weeks.
Yeah, when this new package came out, I know iRacing and NASCAR is going for, but it's just not the way I like to race. It's just been growing pains, trying to figure out what the car wants, what's the game want. And you have to be more aggressive than you really want to be. But I think here recently we've been having more green flag runs, and it's kind of been sorting its way out a little bit, and just getting used to the package. It was a big monkey wrench in our season, and like I said, we've just really had bad luck getting caught up in people's accidents. But I think we're starting to make some ground on this.
All right, Greg Evans, second place in the Fuel Finals, will get to defend his 2018 title starting next week at Rockingham. Greg, good luck. We'll see you there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you guys for broadcasting all the races, and we appreciate it. Have a good.
Greg, have a good night. See you later. All right, now last but certainly not least, Scott Eckridge driving the number 70 Chevrolet Camaro. Scott, tonight more of the same. Your 6th win on the season was a little bit more difficult this time than it has been in weeks past. Greg Evans raised his game tonight, but you still beat him, even with a late race caution. Nobody pit, and you got to just coast home those last 2 laps. Walk us through your night.
Yeah, I had known from the past that Greg was really good here. We've battled, many years here, and I know that he's, one of the guys that you look to beat here, and Jeff the same, and and just kind of, I don't want to say lucked out of it tonight, but I guess I just didn't get caught up in any of the stuff and didn't make any of the mistakes, and just kind of cruised to the end there.
Obviously, a couple weeks off, but you're back this week, and obviously next week the Fuel Final start in Rockingham. Are there any places circled on the schedule that you worry about a little bit? I mean, Rockingham's certainly an unknown to a lot of drivers, not a super popular racetrack on schedules. It's our first time as SimTV going to that racetrack, so are there any unknowns heading into the finals, and anybody in particular that you're worried about wrestling the points lead away from you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think you got to look at Rockingham just because it's kind of tight. The racing grooves, towards the bottom there, everyone's going to kind of be, bunched together. So I think that's going to be really interesting on trying to pass. It's kind of like a Darlington when you're trying to come out of turn 2. Everyone just kind of gets pinched to the same line. So, I mean, it could be a real question mark there. And I think, as always, Talladega is going to be a giant question mark. I don't even know with this new aero package we got what to even expect right now. So, and then, I mean, the road course, anything can happen there, especially with those turtles at Charlotte. So,
coming into the Fuel, whoops, sorry to cut you off there, buddy, but the coming into the Fuel Finals, Scott, you've won a bunch of races. They also give you about 250,000 bonus points in these last couple of races. So, are they like a resource that you have to manage here, or are you feeling pretty confident that you can just you can afford a mulligan here or there?
I think if you want to win it, I don't think you can mess up. I think you have a few points there, but I think if you want to be on point, all these other guys are going to be perfect. So I think it's going to take perfect, especially over the amount of races and what you get for bonus points and whatnot. So yeah, I don't think anything short of perfect is going to get you to the homestead in the position you want to be.
Scott Eckridge is also our regular season champion after night. Scott, you've been the closest to perfect of anyone so far this season. Hopefully you can keep it going there. We'll see you next week at Rockingham. Good luck, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
That will conclude interviews tonight. Finian, that was a wild one. I mean, they're great racing all around, but Greg Evans surprisingly pointed his way in, but it took Gil Brooks having an awful night to make it happen.
I was going to say, because, I was looking back at the points, because I thought, looking after last week, he was 18 points behind Gil Brooks, and Gil Brooks is not a bad driver. He's a decent driver. He can get some good runs, and he was running decent at the beginning of the night, too. Had he finished in the top 10, it would have probably been flipped the other way, but he ended up finishing back in 19th. And that poor finishing position, coupled with some bonus points halfway for Evans, that gave him enough points to jump ahead of Gale Brooks and also even ahead of Yazik, who was anyway going to give up his spot. So, Evans narrowly, he just made it into the final spot. And actually, since we're talking about the points, this is all, I'll give you the list of the drivers who have made it in, and we'll make up your finals list.
And next week, these drivers will be highlighted in green on the ticker, a different green on the ticker, so that you can know who they are. And your 10 drivers for the Fuel Finals are...
They are Scott Eckridge, Nick Cohen, Jeff Ward, Thomas George, Anthony DeBarro, Don Ronkel Jr., Timothy Johnson, Tim Silman, Thomas Bresci, and finally Greg Evans, your 10 drivers there.
All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. We'll be on Spec MX5 Sim Racing Challenge tomorrow, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Winding Road Magazine channel. We'll see you there. Have a good night, and thanks for watching.